Hey, how's it going, everyone? It's Zimzell, and we haven't done this in a while, honestly. Doing a stream and all that, and we got 5 viewers already. That's wonderful to see. Thank you all for coming in. I'm excited. Here we go. Awesome to see the Lizard King Productions in here. My main man. Pina, how's it going, my man? Great to see you. And if you hear something in the background, that is literally because of the fact that Massachusetts weather hates me. So because of that, it is hot completely, and I'm gonna need to cool down. Not to mention with the computer running, the iPad running, and having lights here and stuff, it just makes everything absolutely warm and awful. And I don't feel like taking a shower tonight before I go to bed after this. But it is 11:01 now, meaning it's not too long till we get to see that Godzilla -1 trailer come out. And I'm super excited that we're going to see something and something a little bit more than what we have noticed. You okay? You sound a bit hoarse. It's probably just because I'm not drinking enough water. So because of that, I sound absolutely awful. And I just took the last sip of water that was from my water bottle there. And I'm drinking tons of water and stuff, especially when you're lifting more weights and stuff and you want to exercise. Just being properly hydrated is important. So I think I just naturally never drank a whole lot of water. So because of that, I am sort of like, water. And then I'm absolutely dehydrated and wonder why I feel like death all the time. Yes, we're going to be talking about some wonderful Godzillers. What's up, going to Miss Kaiser? Ms. Going good as always. Brandine. Drink some water. I'll do you one better. I will do more alcohol. I'm excited for this Godzilla. Indeed, I am super excited for this Godzilla. In my last video, which was anything to go by, which thank you all for watching this. It has been absolutely amazing seeing the amount of really good reception I saw from this video. Because I mean, it's only I think it's 200 away from reaching 2K, which I haven't had a video reach 2K in some time. The last video was the public domain video, and that one hit 1.1K. So it really shot past a lot of the other videos I've done recently, which it's really happy to see. I have to also thank Dojin for doing the editing for that, because with doing 2 jobs and then doing some teaching stuff on my college campus in the fall, there's so much stuff going on that I was like, I really want to get this video out. Plus, there's other videos I need to get out too. So I felt so behind on things, and having him come over there and do that for me was super awesome. And speaking of more awesome things, it is Zikaimo. It's good to see you. It's good to see a lot of people out for the stream tonight. But on to business. Well, before we go into business, I'm going to do some quick shilling, of course, because what's a Zim stream? What's really any stream if you don't really shill your own products? I think that's what's always important, is doing the proper amount of shilling. And I love the fact, too, that I have a full set of tabs, and the only tabs it wants to show is everything but the Internet Explorer tabs, finally. Thank you. So we got the shirts, more shirts. I've got a few sold, actually, which I'm really happy about. Speaking of sold shirts, actually, let me turn on the camera. I am rocking one of my own shirts. It's the Biohazard shirt, specifically because I'm going to be working on the novella come the fall. And because of that, I wanted to wear that. Plus, I have a hoodie hung up over there. So when I go to other events where I do my second job, I wear those, and people have asked what the shirt's about. And I gotta be like, yeah, I do kaiju stuff, and I'm working on a book. So it makes me happy in those aspects. But yeah, outside of the shirts, I'm pick up one of those if you're feeling super uber generous. Doing coffee donations throughout the stream, that always helps, and patron stuff, that's always important too. But I don't really want to have essentially the stream be completely full of just being an absolute dirty show. Hello, Kaiji Not. What we're gonna do is we essentially have 2 hours and somewhat to have people come on, come off, and do some discussions. I have something I'm going to be doing in the background while we have people discuss, but I'm going to put an invite into the chat. So, for anyone who has friends or stuff who may want to talk about the film or wants to react to the film as it goes live, I'm going to put the chat there, tell them to join the chat that way. So, that is in the chat for y'all who want to join on really, really quickly and give your thoughts and pop off, or give your thoughts, pop off, come back on for when the actual trailer drops, and then we'll discuss it there later in the night weekend. Because outside of doing a discussion and open mic and your thoughts and stuff, I am gonna probably do some video analysis too, because I found a really massive amount of, not really massive, but just a lot of shitty Godzilla YouTube essays that I wanted to talk about. But that's not going to be the main part of the video. Design and just overall look and feeling this film's giving, it's epic. What's really interesting about that is you have a very standard Heisei design for Godzilla mixed in with a MonsterVerse-esque teaser, which is alluding to a lot of the early MonsterVerse stuff. In terms of if the teasers are indicative of what the film actually will be, and it keeps that consistent tone as to what we thought the MonsterVerse would be like, I would be super happy with how the film actually turns out, because at that point, it's that dark, gritty Godzilla that everyone was really hoping the MonsterVerse would be, and it ended up being kind of your standard, typical blockbuster fare, which I have nothing wrong with that, but I just feel that if we're going to do a serious Godzilla movie, then keeping the serious tone was important, especially post 2014, which I think 2014 suffers from other problems besides it just being a silly film. Well, not 2014, but the monster films post that being silly, silly affairs. But we're getting people in the chat. We're getting people in the back. And what I'm also going to do is... There we go. So I just want to see how that looks. So I'm using reflector again, and it looks like it's not killing my stream, so I'm happy about that. That's good. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be doing some art stuff while I sort of chat with the people I have with me. And the first person I have with me is the Advent King. Say hello, my good sir.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much, nothing much. Just enjoying the company of the fellow peoples, and just very happy to see what kind of comes and goes from the discussion. So, overall, what would you say is like the biggest thing you're excited for when it comes to Godzilla -1?
Um, I'm actually really excited, and I know I'm trying to see if there's any way that I can block out my face, but I have no idea how.
What you do is you go to a stop cam. That should be an option for you. Oh,
There we go.
there we go. I added you back.
Cool. Okay, so I was able to take myself off. Awesome.
Yep.
All right, so my overall thought about Godzilla -1 is that I'm really liking the design, even though there's been many people who are not big fans of the design itself. I mean, I was rather shocked, first of all, seeing the design. It's like, oh, well, it's just a more modified version of the 3D ride,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that uh, that it's just modified and it has more detail instead of just like a CG, like a video game CGI look to it. This is more, it has more detail to it. At first, I wasn't a big fan of the spines because of how ridiculously big they were. But then, as I started thinking about it, it's like, well, there have been a few Godzilla designs uh, that his spines are ridiculously huge. Like for instance, Godzilla Millennium and Godzilla versus Megaguirus. I mean, his spines are absolutely enormous, but it works.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, what's also interesting too is that like where that last spine, the biggest one, ends up on the body can also add to how that design looks, because I think it almost gives this design a very top heavy kind of look to him versus Millennium where it's more closer to the back. So because of that, it gives it more of a bottom heavy, almost kind of triangular vibe to him with how it all shapes up in the end. But I think like we're also not used to getting Godzilla designs being reused in more modern projects.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like with the MonsterVerse stuff, like the MonsterVerse especially stopped doing, like they didn't technically reuse the design they did for the MonsterVerse. They did the Dogoji and then the 2014 design, which have their differences, but they're still overall the same. But like you expect Godzilla to look pretty radically different,
Right.
regardless.
I mean,
But
kind of like how
have you
you
seen the
couldn't.
teaser overall?
Yes,
Like,
I've seen all of them. I've seen everything. I mean, I'm on my Instagram, so I I'm literally flooded with uh, everything that is the the little teaser that we just got literally like a day or two ago, um, with the what looks like or looks to be stock footage of uh, from back in the 1940s.
yeah, some
With
of it looks like stock footage. Some of it, I think, is either new footage or edited photos of
yes,
like actual events, which is
yes,
definitely interesting.
and I do like how, from at least from the look of it, uh, where they're going with this film. They're going to be more. I'm not going to say historically accurate,
Mhm.
but they're going to be more. I mean, it's going to have a lot, a lot more it's going to have a more of a political um, viewpoint with this. I mean, kind of like how, uh, like, how did Dangerville put it? Where they're like, oh well, you thought that Shin Godzilla was political. This might just end up being a little bit more, because yes, in true history, uh, it was 1940. Oh, when was Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombed? I think it was
45.
19. Was it 45?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 1945. You
And
know,
then yeah, 47 is when the film takes place.
yep,
48's
2 years
when
after.
yeah, the Coast Guard's established, and then the Defense Forces in 54. So that's definitely a interesting aspect for the film to tackle. But what I've also been thinking too is I think maybe it's just because of the fact that Godzilla is from the 50s, the 1950s aesthetic and the era almost feels like a character in and of itself for Godzilla. Whereas like Batman has Gotham, I do feel that like there is a cohesion between seeing an older Japan and Godzilla appearing alongside one another. But that may just be
Hmm.
me.
Yeah, no, I very much agree with that, and that I kind of and I kind of see where they're or why they're doing it this way, because in true history, Japan could not at that time. They were told they were not allowed to make any kind of like war propaganda films or any kind of films showcasing any kind of war, because of the fact that the bombings were still very much relevant, and because Japan lost, you know they after World War II was over, you know America kind of had a
When
say in what they could and couldn't do, because it, anyway, it was a whole political thing. So that's why I believe during the time from 1945 to 1954, they couldn't do a whole lot. I mean, again, it's even talked about in a lot of documentaries where,
Mm-hmm.
again, in Japan, they were kind of, the filmmakers were really had their hands tied when it came down to stuff like that. And so when Godzilla was first being thought up, it did allow, to an extent, big quotes here, to an extent, to show a war, but not between, people, but a thing that's supposed to represent what the atrocities and the horrors that happened to Japan when the bombs were dropped. And so that's why I think there was such a time gap, because they were still probably trying to figure out how to get away with, showing something of war. Well,
Mm-hmm.
now this, since that's been kind of, I can't say erased or wiped away, this is kind of showing more like, okay, 2 years have gone by. What happened? What did we wake up? What woke up? Or what did we do as Americans when we dropped those bombs, like the testing of Hiroshima and or the testing of the H bomb, and then because that's kind of shown heavily a little bit in in the little teasers that we got, that it talks about just for a brief second or two about the H bomb testing
Mm-hmm.
and
And I think it's like
somehow.
also definitely too, we think about like Japan's also still like a nation that's gone from a very proud people to essentially a protector of the US. And in a lot of ways, I think Godzilla is also not just like the metaphor for like the bombs and stuff, but also sort of a plea for like the stopping of the acceleration of weapons because of how destructive it was for the atomic bombs. The creation of
Right.
even more deadly weapons could produce even worse results. And because Japan had been uniquely exposed to these weapons, it's only natural that they'd have a unique perspective on it as well.
Hmm.
But that's a good segue to just bring a whole squad of people on here. So we're gonna Fortnite this, and a boom, boom, and kaboom. And from the top to the bottom, y'all's introduce yourselves.
Yo, sorry, that's me.
That's
I'm the
you.
Pyro. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
sorry
you,
about
dude.
that. I'm the Pyro Tyrant. You can find me on Instagram at Pontifex Monstrum. I draw kaijus. I got original kaijus. Yada yada yada. Yeah, let's go to the next person because I really want to get in this convo.
Yes, hello. I'm J.S. Pena. I have an Instagram and a Twitter, which I'll give I'll share shortly, but I can't right now because I gotta do something real quick. So yeah, next guy.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kaimo. Um,
Carl.
um, I've got a YouTube channel, Kaimo Films, and that's kind of the only place you'll see me now. Yeah.
I guess I didn't introduce myself, so I'm actually Lizard King Productions. Even though it says
Holy
the Advent
fucking
King,
shit!
I'm Lizard King Productions. Um, I am the creator of King Tyrannus
Holy shit!
and everything else that's there. So, yeah. So I don't know why it came up as the Advent King. I got to change that. That's kind
Can
of
I
weird.
just say something real quick? It's not even about Godzilla. And like I know this dude is like the guy that got me making my fucking kaiju and doing this shit. I ran across like King Tyrannos like damn near 15 years ago, and I was just enamored by like the artwork, like the creation, like the old school retro style kaiju. So like it sounds cringe, but like damn, I'm really kind of honored to be talking to this motherfucker right here. Like this is someone who's like, you want to talk about fathers and grandfathers of the kaiju community? Well, this is one of them. Like, this is a
I
guy
am
who was
not.
at it before. Yeah, you were at it before all of us, bro. When I think about like the old school people, like there's the Jake Spencers, there's the Matt Berlin, like, but King Toronos. Holy shit, King Toronos has gone through like the evolution of a lifetime, and where he's at right now is like, yeah. Like just
Yeah,
scrolling
there's-
through it, like this is, you guys don't know the DeviantArt days, like holy shit.
Oh, actually, one sec. Let me stop the screen share real quick. Let me show the camera again. Yeah, no, this is. Can I show myself even bigger? Yeah, I'm gonna do a solo lit real quick. Yeah, no, I ended up buying some of his art while I was at G Fest, so it was fun meeting him in person, and then obviously getting that piece, which has a little card and stuff, which is where you can find them, which I'll show off the Instagram right there. So, you know. And how do I get out? How do I get out of the layout? My goodness, no!
Boomer moment.
literal boomer moment. There we go. Oh my goodness.
But yeah, like it's actually good to just like actually talk to you, because like we've had DMs for years, man. Like holy shit. I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit starstruck. I'm sorry.
No,
mean,
no.
Hey, there's a Starship
and see,
fanboy,
and
but
I'm
here's
not
this
even
stuff.
used to this. I'm not even used to people being like this, where they're like, "Holy crap, it's actually you!" It's like I'm nobody. I mean, there's people that are, you know, far bigger and are more well known than I am, and it's like, but I mean, I'm honored to think that you guys think that of me, and that you do, and you and I have talked about it many times, even way back in the DeviantArt days.
Bro, like I'm not even gonna lie. I remember when I was just like this little fucking kid, and like you had to just be like, hey, your monster is getting a bit too close to King Toronos. Like I'll help you out and help you get him a bit, but like, and it's just like that's just something I haven't experienced since in the community, or like so it's like, yeah, I'm pointing that out. Like he's a cool dude.
Well, I appreciate that. And the thing is, I still do have the copyright out on him. I had to change it a few times because I changed his look, but um, I just didn't want anybody in trouble. And the fact that it's like, you know what, and you were a really cool person to even interact with, so I was like, you know
Nah, I
what, he's a
appreciate
pretty
it. Like,
cool guy. So I wanted to, artists are always there to help each other out. So, and again, I wasn't even a big name even then, and I'm still not, I don't think.
well, that's enough of me. Like,
bigger than you think, honestly.
yeah. Like, no, you have no idea, dude. Like, when names get dropped in like OC chats and community chats about like the OG, like you're one of them. You're one of them in like the most positive light, because like not only are you still developing, but like you're actually writing, you're going through with the story, you're trying to get the production going. So like you're a real like person that people look up to.
Yeah,
like,
speaking of which, this man does have a motion comic coming out, so
yeah, like
y'all better support that.
Yeah, like support, subscribe, like follow the Instagram, because honestly, how many people can you count on your one hand in like the OC kaiju community trying to launch their own like Titanicus? You got Matt Frank starting his own comic, King Toronos, like, and then Jeremy Robinson, like who else?
Mhm.
Like you get maybe 5. Like I support it just because we need new shit out there. But like just the fact that he's willing to I've sucked your dick enough. Like, let's talk about Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about Godzilla. I'm sorry, bro.
That's what we're here for.
Since I do know Evan's had some time to talk, from a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are y'all? I'm just curious.
Well,
go ahead.
I'm like at a 15, dude.
I'm gonna be the controversial one. Like, I've had time to sit on it. Like, the design got released. That was the hit of my hype, because like that design is beautiful. It gives me everything I want from like a mix of the MonsterVerse, but a mix of that old classic Toho bit of ridiculousness with the spines and the feet. I love it. But right now I'm at a 5 for excitement, because it is a period piece. But I'm also considering the last several Godzilla properties that Toho released, where design-wise, sure, they might have been excellent. Maybe you had some really shit Goji designs, and I'm looking at you, the trilogy, but like, sure, design-wise, excellent. Story-wise, well, you got Shin Godzilla, which, like, we all know the complaints, even though we love it. It's like 90% boardroom meetings. Singular Point, which is like, it's good. You get a lot of Godzilla action and monster action, but holy fucking shit, calm down with the science mumbo jumbo and trying to actually solidify yourself in science. Shut the fuck
The thing
up.
is, it's not even real science anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like Doctor Who trying to actually explain fucking time travel. Get real,
Yes.
give me a funny word, and just move on. And then you get like the trilogy, which is just like
Oh,
terrible.
don't even bring up
101.
the trilogy.
The trilogy is
ex-
literally like Philosophy 101.
It's
Someone,
not even
like,
it's not even
remembered the-
Philosophy 101 because they get half of it fucking wrong. It's just terrible. It's like I'm sorry, that's my opinion, but like it's just like it's not good. Like the best thing about the trilogy is like the Ghidorah concept, him coming out of spoilers for a
Even that
terrible movie.
sucks.
No, I agree. But like that's the best fucking thing to come out of that movie. Ghidorah. The idea of Ghidorah black hole, fuck all that shit about like, he needs to be tethered with someone on the planet that he's about to destroy, because that makes sense, you know? If you want to remain invulnerable, you fuck that shit. But like, the idea of Ghidorah being this incorporeal, Lovecraftian monster that comes out of a black hole and destroys planets, I like that. I fuck with that.
Well, if they
But
would have done
even
it a different way, though.
No, but that's the thing I'm getting at. I'm at a 5% for excitement because given it's a period piece, given Japan's history, like I'm honestly scared.
I'm scared.
I'm scared we might get like some political piece with it being set in the 50s. Like, oh, good luck with that. You're going to try and make us feel sorry for Imperial Japan. But it's like, the last few iterations from Toho have failed in a way where MonsterVerse hasn't. And it's quite simply, y'all talk too much. Where's the monsters? Where MonsterVerse is just like, damn, y'all really try with the monsters, but there's not enough of the people action.
Mm-hmm. It's
The
almost
one
like
thing-
literally they're both sides of the pond are doing one thing right.
Oh, exactly.
That's why we got to
why-
meet in the middle of the Atlantic, raise Atlantis from the ground, and there we make our
Nah.
Godzilla movie.
No, the one thing I am excited for is like I've seen a couple of leaks. We all know like they're a bit iffy at best, but like spoiler warning just in general. The idea that there's gonna be two Godzillas. Now I
Yeah.
fuck with that heavily. You give me one Godzilla that is the original representation of like all of the horrible shit that came from the bomb, and then give me another that's closer to what we get with MonsterVerse, where he's the fucking hero and shit. Let them battle it out, but whoever's the winner, they still cause a fucking, disturbance. They still send Japan into the, negative. I want that idea because, like, if they're telling this story, have the message y'all want to have about nukes and shit. If you're going to do a double Godzilla feature, have the message. I just want to see it played out from, like, the perspective of the only country to have those bombs dropped. Like,
Right.
cool. Tell me how y'all think about this. Like, the idea of nukes becoming less scary and less this monstrous. Tell me how y'all feel about this. That's what I'm excited about. Like, cool. This is something we haven't really gotten in a minute. Period pieces do well with monster flicks. We just saw it with Prey, the Predator film. Like, yeah, take that shit, put it in like 500 years ago. But like that's enough of my rambling.
Well, I mean, and I have to at least agree with part of that because, and I got to look more into the leaks, so there is some spoiler alerts. Yes, they talked about that there is a second, and I did do a piece visually from what I thought it would look like because of how it's described, but I went off of the fact that, yeah, one is, it got hit by the radiation. This is what happened. It became mutated. The other one is what it would have looked like, if left in its natural habitat. If left alone, like at the bottom of the sea, and it was in its own ecosystem that was down there, it was just left alone. And in a little bit of the spoiler, it talks about the fact that this secondary Godzilla is similar, but doesn't look identical, but it's similar, but it's trying to bring that Godzilla home. It's part of its family.
Yeah.
But the fact that this thing is it's on a
It's a
freaking
monster.
rampage. It's basically Frankenstein. It
Yeah.
was human. It's human parts, but it's on a rampage because it's blinded by the rage that it has because of what happened to it. And so this one is trying to bring it home, but they end up tussling, from what I understand, and then it basically sacrifices itself for the other one, for the Godzilla that we know, that we've seen in the promotional stuff. It survives, but because I think it takes the hit from the oxygen destroyer, and it dies because it's trying to save the life of the other. And so that's how Godzilla, the one that, again, was supposed to have died in 1954, that we saw die and turn into bones and then nothing, that's how it explains, and in my mind
Well,
at least, why he survived, or why there's another one in 1955 where it's Godzilla raids again.
so the two things that like one is like the reason I'm interested in seeing a double Godzilla narrative like ever you get two bombs on Japan, we get the representation on Godzilla. I'll ask all of you in the chat, how many bombs did America drop on its own soil just through sheer testing?
I could tell you, because
Oh,
I mean, I
if
was in the
you can
military.
listen, hold up. If you can tell me, shut the fuck up.
Oh, okay.
This is for the layman who don't understand my grand vision.
All right, I'll
For
stay quiet.
for the rest of you, because like I want to give this for the rest of you, how many shit up Zim, like don't search it up, how many bombs did we drop on our own soil testing the shit?
Oh, is this for the entire group here?
Yeah, it's an entire
Oh.
class question, except for
Oh.
King Tyronos.
My lips are still sealed for right now, unless people need a lifeline.
No lifelines, no lifelines. It's a straight, you either get it wrong or you get it right. How many bombs did America drop on its own soil?
I want, like, I knew at one point, and this is gonna sound really high. I want to say like either close to like over 100,000 or close to two. No, it wasn't 2,000. No, it wasn't that many.
No.
I'm gonna
Nope.
say close, like around 1,000 some odd, so like 100.
Okay.
1,020,
Next.
1,030 ish.
Hold up. Next. Hold up, because like next.
Pina, we'll let you go next, and there's someone else in the back who will have him give an answer too.
I got nothing. And it's Pena.
Pena.
Kaima.
So I took my headphones off because I want to try to avoid spoilers. Probably should have asked whether or not there were any spoilers to be known at all.
Oh shoot!
So-
I'm gonna just put it like this. We talking about leaks, and like since they're leaks, it's the same type of leaks that told us that Godzilla was gonna fall into a hole in King Kong versus Godzilla, and that like there's gonna be the fucking alien. So it's like take it with a
What
grain of salt.
I'll say about
But
this when it comes
fair.
to any of the leaks, almost like all of the people in Japan talking about the leaks all reference it coming from 4chan first rather than some
Yeah.
Japanese site. So more than likely, I'm assuming any of the leaks are fake.
Oh, I'm not even trying. I'm not even like
Probably.
for me. It's like I don't even need to think about where they're getting it from. Thinking about the last Godzilla movies, how many leaks where it was like, oh my god, the Mutos are Rodan. Oh my god, King Ghidorah is Rodan. Oh my god, Rodan. And then the one time we got Rodan, they never fucking called it. They never fucking
what's it
called
called?
it, and it was a surprise.
The only time we ever got Rodan leaks was after it was called, and we knew for a fact
Exactly.
he'd be in the film. But
Think about the Godzilla
I-
versus Kong links. He falls into a hole, and then the aliens show up. Like
I would. The only problem is that was for the American MonsterVerse, for a giant Hollywood production. This is a small scale Japanese relative to American film. But
I can give you examples for
This is a
Toho.
small scale film comparatively, and when the leaks for Shin's design came out, and that he was an evolving Godzilla, there were.
I do remember that when they
there
talked
were,
about that there was supposed to be like multiple forms, or that there was going to be more than one. But what they iterated to was, or what they hid was, that oh yeah, there's going to be multiple, but it's still the same organism. It's just evolving. It's
Well,
changing.
in my eyes, that's just semantics.
Yeah.
So, but the fact that for the last live action Toho movie, the leaks for his design and for his main gimmick, was leaked. At least a year before the movie came
Oh,
out.
that's fair. That's fair.
I'm willing to take spoilers or leaks for this next live action Japanese movie to be a bit. I'm willing to take those with it.
No, you know what?
Much more caution than I would.
No, I can grant you that. Like, I give you
with
that. Like,
Godzilla
that's
having
fair.
a rib cage, a red rib cage on his back, and being Mega Godzilla or whatever.
No, it's like for like I get that. Like American movies in general are just like a lot more fucking lax when it comes like the security. I 100%.
You could say that American movies are very loose.
You could say they suck.
Footloose.
Yeah.
Kick off your Sunday shoes. But no, one of the things that like really bothers me about like the leak aspect of like the previous Godzilla coming in to try and like coax the new Godzilla out of like his horrendous frenzy, it's the representation, honestly. Like Toho, like when Toho does a Godzilla movie, for me, I don't know about y'all, I expect like, some top tier Godzilla representation. Like I expect like, y'all gonna do some nuke shit. Y'all might draw in like the cool monster fighting action because that's what you're known for since like the Showa era. But like you're gonna keep true to like the fucking message. And that's what they did with Shin Godzilla. Like singular point, they tried to do it, but it's so wrapped up in like fake science bullshit that like
it tries to be Ava.
Yeah, you get the trilogy, which tries to do, like you said, Zimzilla, like political philosophy 101, but it's like, wow, everyone here is actually fucking stupid, and I hope Godzilla wins. I hope he kills you all. Like, that's how you feel at the end of the trilogy. This one I'm worried about because it's taking effects from real history, and boy, howdy, I don't want to have that conversation in the Godzilla fandom about, like, oh, yeah, like, it's just a conversation now. There's so many questions I have to like the idea of like representation wise. Godzilla, the son of the nuke, he's the consequence of our actions. What is a precursor to Godzilla going to be alluding to in the idea of like, bringing you back into the fold of normality, normal Godzilla before the mutation? What the fuck does that look like when we're talking about the country that did it being Japan and what like they did before the bomb? Like, I don't want that conversation in the Godzilla fandom. That shit's just not gonna go well. But being Toho, being serious like they are, like I can see that 100% being a thing.
Wait, you worried about Godzilla being political?
Yeah, quite literally. It's funny I say it was like I think Godzilla fans are some of the worst when it comes to like talking about like the actual representation around like what the fandom's built around. Godzilla's cool. It's fun when he fights monsters, but the underlying thing that we all come around to and we debate it at least like once a year is like, it's about the bomb. You get all the fucking, pseudo intellectuals who want to like come out and be like, well, actually, when the bomb dropped and yada yada yada, you see, it's mimicked and got shit we already know. Now we have a Godzilla movie that's being set in the goddamn 50s, like right when some of like more hostile sentiment is probably going to be more expressed. Like, y'all can either show it or don't, but people are going to talk about it, especially us Americans. That's what I'm worried about.
I think definitely we're going to see a lot of Americans talking about it, and you're going to have, I think there's going to be a lot of people ending up on two sides of that argument. And I'm excited. That's good. That's good debate material for me. I mean,
listen, it's good debate material, but like I draw it back to something I said. My primary interest is seeing what the only country in the world who has had 2 atomic bombs dropped on them has to say in 2023 when like it's just not that big of a deal anymore. Like every time we go to war, it's like, oh, are the nukes going to drop? And then it's like, if they do, we have plans. If they don't, we have plans. Like, cool. I want to see what the only country has to say about that. Y'all had this problem. Y'all dealt with it before. How do y'all fucking feel about it? I'm just like, I'm not looking forward to like the Goji debates about Godzilla instead of like the messaging of it, because like Toho tends to lean heavily into the messaging, at least in my
I
opinion.
think American fans forget that Godzilla is not American.
Oh, 100%.
It is Japanese, and so I think, like you said, the Japanese have every right to explore the effects,
And
the
the thing
still
is,
the still remaining effects of the bombs being dropped on them.
and
And
if I
the
remember,
notion that atomic bombs are not a big deal anymore, I think, is a somewhat uneducated opinion. But that's just my
Well, I think it's
that's
less the
just my
fact. I
thought.
think it's more the fact that since we don't necessarily live in a world where only one country had access to this weapon. I think if anything, it has indeed become more of a mundane fact to us because people just aren't that threatened by nuclear weapons anymore, and they're still destructive, but because more people are educated on their capabilities, nations are less likely to use them. And I think nukes at this point have become more of a posturing tool rather than a reality.
Well,
I would say probably.
that's the funny thing. That's why I'm so interested in hearing about what Japan has to say, because again, oh yeah, I never gave the answer. How many bombs did we drop on American
Before
soil?
you say that, there's someone else who's in the back. I want to see if he'll get it right.
Okie
We got
Hello.
Vic. Gives you answer.
Vic, how many bombs did the United States, how many nuclear bombs did the United States detonate on its own soil in testing?
I got no idea. I have a friend who's really good at this. He'd probably know, but
Oh, I got you. It's 1,054 by official count, including 216 atmospheric, underwater, and space tests.
What?
Yep.
Actually, did you realize that it was 1,054? That is 900 away from 1954, the year.
No, like, don't make dumb points. Like, my thing is like, because what you just said is like, I like that. I vibe with that idea. Like, it's become like this, just like more of a talking point. We haven't dropped a bomb in nearly 100 years. Like, okay, yeah, what's the big deal? It's the fact that even us Americans tend to forget that we dropped 1,000 on our own country, including our own soldiers. And I don't know about every single case. I can tell you from the personal experience that I had with like a relative of someone who went through that, bro, like their entire fucking family line is like Godzilla mutated. Like the back you're drawing right now, Zimzilla, I know a woman whose grandfather was in one of these tests and she has a back that looks exactly like this in x-rays. I'm like, her family is in medical journals because when they die, they want to dissect them and like show them as like examples of this shit. And we did that to our own people. I want to see like how some of that shit is tackled. Like, sure, Japan getting fucked by the nukes, that's a tale as old as time, Beauty and the Beast. Now you're on the international stage. Now, like, your movies are being ported over to fucking America, where all we care about is monsters fighting. Like, how are you going to deal with that in like your serious ass tone, especially when the last couple didn't get the reaction you were looking for? You weren't able to launch like the Shin Godzilla franchise like you did the Showa or the Heisei or the Millennium.
I think one thing that's also to consider too is like this Godzilla movie isn't being distributed by anyone. I think it's like directly coming over from Japan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's after the Monsterverse where they realize, yo, Americans kind of like Godzilla and they have money. A lot of fucking money. Hollywood has money. It's no wonder they're porting it over to us in our fucking theaters and shit. Like, yeah, it's one of the largest markets in the world. That's just an economic choice. If we're talking about like the thematic and shit, like we know Toho is very fucking strict when they depict Godzilla. You can't really have them fucking lose. You can't, like, they're strict as shit. So how are they going to tackle this? It's their history. I personally would understand, like, yo, if you have an atomic bomb dropped on you for like going to war, like whatever reason your country went to war, yeah, there's a patriotic element that like with Japan doesn't really get explored. You don't really get like the feeling of like what happened to that old Japanese soldier that had to be just like taken home because he was told, yeah, we fucking surrendered. We just gave up. In the middle of 1954, where like the consequence of American actions are quite literally destroying your country and eating your children on trains. How do you deal with that? We haven't really gotten that. I'm kind of scared that this might be trying to do that, but only for the simple fact that like we don't know how to talk about that. We'll just reference all of like the horrible atrocities and all that blah 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 blah, but it's like the patriotic element of the individual that's still there. That's still worth being talked about, especially when we're talking about Godzilla, where it's like, yeah, you're nukes. Like, not everyone who got hit by the nukes was a soldier, but like that sentiment still remains.
Like, I know definitely with Always, Yamazaki's other stuff, pretty much his main characters were civilians and sort of readjusting to a post-war life. So I would be very surprised if our main character is being focused on our soldiers, and I think it's very much going to be impacting
What is his
more of the
other
common
stuff?
person.
What is his other stuff like? Because I'm not gonna pretend like I know.
He
like,
does other. He's done other period piece dramas.
No. Like tell me what those other period pieces are like. Because like I haven't seen them. Like how does he tackle this issue of like post like war lifetime?
It's, I would say, almost history book like, where it's not really like it deviates from what we do know or what we can access as Americans. So that's what I would say the best comparison would be. Plus, he's also done other stuff outside of period pieces. Like he did, I think it was one of the Space Battleship Yamato anime movies. I believe was one other thing he did. But has anyone else seen any of his other stuff actually outside of like the Always Godzilla stuff?
Yeah, like that. Like if we're gonna talk about this guy, like I want to like if he's done like not Godzilla shit. Like, obviously not, but like, I don't know how he personally tackles that shit because, like, that's my main worry.
I like, at least I can also say that his stuff is also pretty well acclaimed too. So
that's fine. Okay,
yeah,
I'm looking him up now.
I also know he did Dragon Quest. He did the Parasite stuff, Lupin the Third. The Great War of Archimedes, that was another one. I wanted to bring that up, but I forgot the name of it.
Oh, shit. He worked on visual effects for Star Wars and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Like, biggest hits of 1977. Okay. Battleship. You right, Battleship Yamato, Friends of Mononoke, The Eternal Zero, Stand By. Okay, seeing shit that like I recognize. Okay, I feel like my fears are over exaggerated then. I'll say that like wholeheartedly. Like I recognize a lot of the shit he's been involved with.
You think?
Even
hey,
if
don't say listen, don't say you think because like Americans are still fucking weird. We're all fucking weird over here. We have a different view to them because like they experienced it and like
Americans
only our like soldiers did. Yeah, literally. I will maintain that one. Like they experienced it. They gonna have something else to say other than us.
One thing I'm also curious about, and I'm not sure what y'all's opinions is that if hypothetically the 2Gs isn't real and we do get another monster, do you think it's gonna be the more obvious choice from the three monsters we saw in his last Godzilla project that he worked on? Or do you think it's something gonna be totally new? Because there was another spoiler that talked about a whole new monster.
I think, like, unfortunately, given how he's taken the design of Godzilla, if the spoilers of another separate monster are real, it's probably going to be one we've seen from him before, but like more an updated design. Simply because that's what he did with Godzilla, like the most iconic like design of monsters like from Japan. Like you can argue maybe Gamera, but no, it's fucking Godzilla. He went with a design that he's been working on for years. He did the thing that we all do where we don't just throw away the old design, we build upon it until it's like just quite right. I think -1 is his quite right. So like if we do get another monster flick, it's probably going to be like one of the ones we saw before, but like more detailed and more updated. A lot of the criticisms that we had with the ride version are going to be addressed. Like a lot of people, like if it's King Ghidorah, for example.
Oh, it's not going to be Ghidorah. It's probably, if it's anything, it's going to be Rodan.
No, like I'm using Ghidorah as an example because like the flaws that we had with Godzilla the ride design kind of got fixed. The big fucking feet, like kind of the really over, like a lot of those did get fixed in this -1 design. If he does bring over another monster, he's going to focus on like fixing those criticisms. I use Ghidorah as an example because there were a lot of fucking criticisms. The weird fucking hands, like the overly broad chest, the really skinny wings. Like, if he brings over a monster like Ghidorah or Rodan, like he did, it's gonna be to a extent that we've seen it before, but not quite because he's fixed like a lot of the criticisms. I don't
Are
see
you
the
talking
same.
about like for the film, or are you talking about like for something after the film?
No, I'm talking about for the film. If the leaks are true for the film and we get like separate monsters and it's like the typical battle feature, it's probably going to be something that he's tried to do before, like Rodan or Ghidorah, but he's going to fix the critiques that we've seen from them in the past. Like, again, for Ghidorah example, the ride version of Ghidorah has this really broad chest but insanely weak limbs. He looks like he skipped fucking arm day every single day at the gym. If we bring back Ghidorah from -1, Ghidorah is probably going to be a bit more beefed up. If we bring back Rodan, we're probably going to get a lot more critique fixes from the ride. Like, okay, Rodan doesn't look like the typical Rodan from like, you know, Toho era shit. Like, he looks more like MonsterVerse. Probably going to see a more like Toho-esque version of Rodan. Oh, you know, the wings aren't big enough. He doesn't. Probably going to see a little bit more. It's like the same type of things he went through when, you know, redesigning -1 from the ride. Oh, he's a bit too big. Okay, we slim him down a little bit in the midsection. Make
Do
him
people
more of
not
the
really
GMK.
like the ride design?
Bro, like the
I
thing
really
is with
don't like the
There's
ride
so
design.
many things I've heard.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I've heard so many things when it comes to the ride design that it's like, it's not even funny. But like -1 is accepted because they fixed those.
I don't
In
know.
the
I
ride,
kind of like the ride design. I mean, I spent money on it, so
no, that's
I,
fair. But like, you biased, you spent money on it. If you say you don't like it now, like you just wait. Ooh, that's beautiful.
Well, here's the thing. I actually did not like the design, but I saw it at G Fest. I didn't buy it at G Fest, but I saw it at G Fest, and I was like, I actually really like that.
No, actually, keep
so
this on screen. Keep the
here's-
fucking
here-
figure on screen. Like
because-
the feet, particularly. That's the one thing I remember is like the feet of this figure, or like the ride version. That was one of the main criticisms. Jesus fucking Christ, they are too fucking big. They remind me of Plant Goji. Yada yada yada. He fixed that and like.
These remind you of Godzilla Earth? Are you kidding
No,
me?
no. I'm saying that's a lot of the criticisms that were received when the ride came out. When this was like the second or third version of a Toho Godzilla that we got in like 20 years. Like, oh, you have Ride Goji, fucking Shin Godzilla, and Singular Point. Singular Point's aight. Shin Godzilla, aight. This motherfucker, he would be better, but then people went really specific. He's too thick. He looks too MonsterVerse. The feet are too big. Make the head a bit bigger. Make the arms a bit smaller. And then we get the -1 version that's going to get its own new figure. And we see he obviously took those to heart. The feet are way smaller compared to that. Look how far that front prodigal claw sticks out compared to like -1. It's
I really think that the debate over Godzilla's feet has gone out of proportion. And,
You're right.
And is something that is an embarrassment upon this fan base because
listen, there are feet people everywhere. Like, we can't help it. We just got to fight back against them.
The feet. There's only one thing, I will say this, one thing that I liked about the ride.
Yeah.
Godzilla, at least the design. If y'all look at the ride design, you look at the tail. There is at the end, and I was trying to point it out when, and I forgot your name, man, and I'm so sorry. But you showed the figure. I was really hoping that you were gonna look at the end of the tail for the ride figure and and everything. You can see at the end that there's small stagomizers that look just like what, again, Godzilla was based off of 3 dinosaurs: the Stegosaurus, the Iguanodon, and the Tyrannosaurus.
I'll say full sail. They ripped that
tail-
off Trandontis. They got that from me. It was me. I'm
But
fucking
the
with
thing
you.
is, but I liked how it looked because it's like, oh, they're actually paying a small homage to the fact that, yeah, Godzilla was three different dinosaurs wrapped up in one. And the fact that, I mean, even on my vinyl figure that I bought of the ride figure, I really liked that. And I think I put that in the description saying that I really liked how that looked and how each scale is kind of on, the scoots as they're coming down his tail. Now, if you look at the revved up version for the film, yes, it's kind of identical. There are a lot of changes done to it, but when they added those bigger spikes going in the center, going down the tail where it comes straight to the end of the tail, it's like, okay, that part of me was like, that's a little odd. Why would you do that? But I mean, I guess, I mean, sure, why not? And I kept really like zooming in on the tail at the end of it so that I could see if they still kept the thingamizers or not. They did not. They took them away. If
Yeah,
you
I agree
actually
with that.
take
That
a
was a good
good
design
look,
choice.
they took them away. They're not there. And it's like, what? Why did you do that? I thought, at least for myself anyway, that I thought that was a pretty cool design where it's like, okay, you're actually honoring that, not just by the plates on his back, where that's supposed to be like the Stegosaurus, but you guys kind of honored it a little bit more and actually gave him like a little bit of a club. I mean, for me at least, anyway.
Is that a a fact or like something that can be cited as they paid homage to the Stegosaurus, or is that kind of your
I'm
own
not very
interjection?
sure. I was just more or less, again, I'm very detail oriented. I mean, if you guys
Sure.
haven't seen, for those who have not seen my art, I'm very detail oriented. And when it comes down to details, I actually put emphasis on why there's details here. I'm very much like, if there's detail here, there's a focus to that. I want you to focus on that. And so it's like, and I know that there's several other artists that are out there that are the same, where they don't put detail into something unless it's intentional. It's intentional for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got, I mean, and again, I didn't really notice it until I got the figure because the day one when I opened up the box when it came from Japan, I opened it and I was looking at it. I was like, wow, this is really cool. I mean, I'm liking this design. And I looked at the tail and I was like, oh, look at that. That's actually really cool. They gave him Stegosaurus Thagomizers. I think I'm saying it wrong. If I am,
No,
someone
you're saying
please
it.
jump
You're
in.
saying it right. Yeah.
You've been saying it right. Thagomizer, yeah.
The Thagomizers that are there, it's like, oh, and these are kind of pronounced. They're not really like out there like what a Stegosaurus is, but you can tell just by looking at it. It's like, those
Can
are
I ask
there.
you a quick question?
Mm.
Like, because like you're a detailed oriented person. Like, you're right. There are many artists that are out there detail oriented, such as you. Would you say that like they're pronounced to a level where you can't think that they would include them by mistake? It's not just like, oh, they made the scales on his tail too
Yeah,
long or the plates on his
that was
tail
my
too long.
yeah, that's my question because there are definitely people who think every detail, every scale is intentional, but
Yeah.
then there are other people other designers who might not, who might put specific details in specific places
Like
to draw attention. But for something as minute or basic as the end of a tail, they might just say, oh, "Here's a bump. Here's a bump." And
like
Honestly,
I'm
like,
I'm
I will
looking
play
at
devil's
like the design.
advocate in this case only because of the fact that when we look at other designs that are cohesive, at least, which would primarily be the Heisei designs, we don't really see that trait there. And then when we look at his the Always design, it had a pretty standard tail. So at this point, I would say it's conjecture. I would say
Well,
it's
no,
a
like
good detail if it's proven, but also we have so little information on how this Godzilla and the Ride Godzilla were designed in full. I would say that
Exactly.
the jury's up in the air, and I think
well,
that
no, like that. That's
history is
why
an interesting detail.
that's why I asked like him on his personal opinion, because like whether like it's proven in fact and they recorded themselves saying this, like it's never going to happen. Anyone in the design process of like designing a kaiju knows like you never actually record all of your, you know, thematic
Your little
decisions.
ideas, yeah.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous to even try and play that game. Now, looking on what you got in the screen, that's why I'm asking the question. I'm looking at these spines, they're very spiky, they're very upfront. You know, Advent King, Lizard King Productions. Do you think that like this is something that was intentional, or like it's a carryover from them spikes? Because like if you think it's something intentional, like I can buy that shit. I'm not like that detailed oriented where like that. I make mistakes, but like this is fucking Godzilla we're talking about, not fucking Tridontus or like one of the little bullshit kaiju I got.
I'm gonna say it's intentional only because that trait is missing from the Minus design, and also it wasn't present on the Always design, so it does feel like something they did want to change for whatever reason. That would be my only feeling on it.
Gotcha.
I mean, if you're talking about the dorsal plates, I think, and this is just my thoughts on it, that again, if you look at those and you look at the plates that are on the ride, which has been stated that he had a big hand in the design of the Godzilla model from the game, and he brought that over. That was said, so it's like, okay, well, that's fair. But the changing of the spine of the back
tail
plates, well, on the tail, I don't know. That's, for me at least, I just thought it was like, you know, again, I'm
that's the thing.
Into the details, but
you know, like that's what I mean. Like, do you think it's more likely that like it's just like a detail thing that carried over from like the spikiness of the spines, or if it's something that like he looked at and he said like, yo, this tail could, at the very least, if it's not like the details of the original dinosaurs that went into it, if it's like the tail could use something a bit more to make it a little bit more unique. Because like I know a lot of kaiju.
Like with, yeah.
Go ahead. I was gonna say like I know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, like what I'm dealing with right now, I'm in the middle of 3D sculpting King Tyrannus at the current moment, and I have to put it on. Excuse me. I have to have it on symmetry.
Yeah.
And that basically, you know, so I can focus on one side, and what I do on one side, it does to the other. Well, again, it was a 3D model that was made of this Godzilla for the ride. So I would also assume the same similar process was used for, you know, what I'm doing now.
Gotcha.
My 3D sculpt is there. So I think it more came in along the lines of what you were saying, which was, oh, well, because we have spikes up here, let's just go ahead and like put some random, just going ahead and just get it on there. I really don't believe that they actually were sitting there thinking about the fact that, oh, well, you know, let's go ahead and try to give them a little bit of a stegosaurus. Again, it's just how my mind was taking it, but I don't think they really went that deep with it.
Oh, no.
I think
like
they just decided to, you know, let's try to put some bumps on here, and again, the symmetry came into play, and it just did the same on the other side, and it gave it that look.
Yeah, like the reason I asked that question is because like I know how us, you know, kaiju creators think when we, you know, design our own monsters, and like anyone who's like anyone in this community, you put a scar on a monster, there's like a little short story that goes behind it. Like there's a little battle with another monster or a war with the fucking military that goes behind it. So I was wondering if you thought that translated to like the actual OG of fucking monsters. Like it's not King Kong, it's not Reduosaurus. Like when people think of like the first kaiju, it's God fucking Zilla. So like I was just wondering if you thought that translated there, because like I honestly would think that would, but like given your explanation, I can understand that. Given the fact that like highly merchandisable, when you design this thing, you got to kind of think about like the toy aspect in mind. Like Club is a bit much, but Thagomizer is uniquely similar.
It's also like it is consistent in terms of like what you'd expect on what's possible within a Godzilla design.
Yeah.
Not to mention they like since the beginning they played around with the idea of something being on Godzilla's tail. It's just not something that's always like come to fruition. Like Shin's really the only example of that. but even like a lot of old 54 storyboards and sketches, you had Godzilla with a finned tail. So
Yeah.
I'll say like this, like with the Godzilla tail, because I agree with you, Zim. I think a lot of the times, like there just wasn't like the economic or technological like approachability to having that ability of like a Godzilla tail in action. So they compromised and just made the tail fucking longer. Tail's longer, it can whip and smack into buildings, and like we see the destruction for that. But then, like, you're right, we get Shin Godzilla for the first time, and holy shit, there's a skull and a laser, and there's lore behind his fucking tail.
and then
I'd be interested to
the
see
only
some more of
like
that.
Godzilla before what's it called? Minus to not have a super long tail was Earth, and Earth also had a little tail thing going on with him too.
Oh, I don't
Which I'm
consider
so
Earth
thankful
in
they
that
didn't give
because
him a
like
long tail.
I don't consider Earth in that because like he didn't do anything. He stood there, he roared, he, shot his laser for like half a sec. We didn't see any of the things that make Godzilla. We saw the fanboys version of Godzilla, a giant monster 5,000 meters tall that destroys everything, and like you pretty much need galactic level powers to beat it. But even then, not really, because it's Godzilla.
What wasn't his tail supposed to be like prehensile too?
Apparently,
Supposedly.
Yeah, like I read that fucking recently, and I was like, I like that. Like, I like the idea personally of having a Godzilla that's like really reptilian in appearance, but kind of fucking mammalian in nature. A prehensile monkey tail on a Godzilla, like ears, like the
Well-
pupils. Like I vibe with that heavily.
There's also chameleons too. So I guess that would be the closest thing to it.
Yeah, but like I'm thinking prehensile more in the terms of a fucking monkey. Imagine Godzilla walking down like the cities of fucking Tokyo Blast and shit. They come up upon him behind with the laser tanks, but no, not really, because instead of a fucking laser like Shin Godzilla, he wraps it around one of the tanks and throws it and just slams it over like a fucking club.
Wait,
he uses his tail like a club. Like I could vibe with that.
So
like a spider
like
monkey.
like what
Yeah.
what Godzilla does in GVK when he wraps his tail around Kong and drags him deeper into the ocean.
Yeah.
Was Kong in GV? Yeah, pretty much. Not GV.
Yeah, Kong was in GVK. Yeah, he was.
Mhm.
No, sorry. I thought you said GMK. That's my bad. I misheard you. But yeah, GVK. When he does something like that, one of the things GVK gets right is like the animalistic nature of Godzilla. 2014, he's great. The size is great. Everything about that movie is great except for like the human characterization. But GVK gets it right in that animalistic Goji where like I don't buy Dodori's fucking explanation that Godzilla was just playing both times. Like in that second battle, there's a side of Godzilla we haven't seen before. I'm on all fours, I'm clawing and tearing at yo ass, and I'm gonna stomp on your chest. Not gonna give you the honor of blasting you into space or destroying you with the atomic beam. I'm gonna stop your fucking heart roar in your face and then walk the fuck away. I'm gonna crawl on all fours like that primordial ancestor, claw at your fucking chest, bite your feet, and drive you into a fucking corner. I like that aspect of Goji because when I saw that on screen in the theater it just like, okay, this is a threat, and he recognizes it's an actual threat and not just like a fucking another Goku fight.
That was another thing. Godzilla also used his tail in Megaguirus too.
That's
Yes,
right.
he
Yeah,
did.
Megaguirus was a fucking hell of again. Like Megaguirus was a hell of a threat. Like holy shit. But again, like that's one of the things I like, that mammalian aspect that like chameleons and a few other lizards actually have, but the way they show it on screen, it's more spider monkey or like fucking gibbon than anything else. Using the tail to wrap around shit and then just bat it against something to get away from a predator or something. Like I like that.
When I think about it, if there was one time I really wish they did that more, would have been like the Showa Spirit series, especially when Godzilla was tossing around boulders. I would love to have seen a Showa movie where Godzilla wrapped his tail around a boulder and just chucked it at someone.
They relate to it once, and it's something I really like, and it's the kangaroo kick.
Yeah,
Because
King Kong versus
I like
Godzilla.
I like the idea of like creatures with that build. Like, you look at kangaroo specifically, like Yeah, they can do that. They can rear up on their tail because it has so much muscle. It's a part of their body like we have arms and legs. It's a limb. They can rear up on that, kick you straight in the fucking face, and then like hop away like nothing happened. I would love that aspect to come back into Godzilla, like any Godzilla, MonsterVerse, Toho, where it's like, cool, I'm in a bad threat. Like, I'm going to pull out this, 60-year-old stunt. It's going to be funny. It's going to be cheesy, but like, there's some logic behind it. Yeah,
But
it's
I
a
wouldn't see the
giant
logic
fucking.
behind it either.
Oh, I definitely would.
And
Like,
why
it's
I
a
say
giant.
that is because a kangaroo, yes, like you were talking about, where they use their tail and they put all their weight on their tail to hold them up for that split second or two and kick something. Well, in the old Showa series, the suit was rather flimsy and flexible. So when they had the suit bend, yeah, the spikes would bend out of the way. Well, if you look at 2014 Godzilla or 2019 or even this Godzilla now, those spines are so ridiculously big that if he would have attempted to try that, he would impale himself.
No. No,
I
I'm looking at Godzilla 2014 right now. Around the specific part of the tail that would need to bend, he wouldn't impale himself. Keep in mind, I'm not talking a 1%, 100% recreation of like the original scene where he hops on his tail and then slides like 50 meters across the kickstone. I'm talking about, like you said, that quick 1 second. I'm gonna hop on my tail, kick you in the chest, and then hop back on my feet. There's
think
no
also,
sliding. Like.
That's
Both
from
of
the
like
Gorosaurus thing,
the
right?
2014, 2019, and 2021 designs, like at the base of his tail, like they're thin enough where like, yeah, a rear kick on his tail would, make sense given the fact
Yeah.
that like he uses it for swimming. It is a muscle. He uses it like a crocodile. That's been established.
I would say it's
Cool.
less like you definitely getting like leaning back and kicking. It's more of a using your tail to gain a height advantage and then dropping your weight down.
Yeah, like
you're dropping from a if you've ever like been from a higher vantage point and it's dropping your whole weight into a kick on someone. It's more of that, but in this case, you have.
He's using his tail as an event. He's using his tail as like kind of a springboard to like get both of his feet. Yeah, but like looking at 2019 Godzilla MonsterVerse, nah, all like almost every iteration, his tail is perfect for that. They keep the spikes at it. Maybe this one not. Maybe -1 not. I will give you that. Maybe -1, that's just not possible with the way his spikes are. Every other Godzilla, though, like, that's something I would love to see at some point. Just like that little homage. Fuck, we got the Kong, eat your vegetables homage with the axe. Like, he jammed that shit into Godzilla's mouth for half a second. We saw it not work, but like, it's still a cool fucking reference.
I think thematically there is a significant difference between Kong using the butt of his axe as a weapon versus Godzilla rearing up on his tail like Gorosaurus.
Oh yeah, no, like there's thematic difference, but like yeah, it's still fucking cartoonish and obscene. Like okay,
well,
yeah,
if they
sure,
would have gone, and I would agree with, and this is how I would see it at least.
Yeah,
for them to pay homage in a way to do it that way would be if Godzilla used his tail, like I said, as a third leg to support him because he does have a big torso, to hold him up, to take his foot up high enough to smash it into Kong's chest and throw it down, where it's kind of he's still using that tail to support himself up, to kind of give that, hey, I can still use this muscle to hold myself up long enough to do like a kangaroo kick, but smash it down.
Listen. I like the idea. I'm gonna say right now, that's not an homage to the original Godzilla kick. That's literally, this is Sparta. Like that would be cool too. But that original Godzilla kick where he kind of just like lays on his fucking tail, slides 50 meters, and then fucking kicks the motherfucker Megalon in his chest. Yeah, give me something a little bit like that. Give me Godzilla leaning on his tail for that half a second like a kangaroo, kicking like, you know, Mecha Godzilla, King Ghidorah, King Kong, like, you know, the Scar King, whoever in the face, I'll be happy.
Yeah, like
It doesn't
like
have
that right there.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be the extended slide. It doesn't have to be something like super fucking indulgent. Just give me him leaning on his tail and both feet kicking his foe in the face for half a second. That's your reference. That's your like the Legolas kick. I grant you that'd be epic. Watching fucking Godzilla, you know, this is Sparta, Mecha Godzilla, you know, into oblivion. Epic.
Well, that's essentially that's what Mechagodzilla does in one season. He's literally got Godzilla on his knees and Sparta kicks him into
Yeah.
further.
Yes,
One
I
of the
remember
one
that.
of the reasons I love MonsterVerse Mecha Godzilla is because like for about half a second before Millie Bobby Brown comes on screen and like they decide that they're gonna disrupt the, you know, satellite beam with alcohol on a computer, it's like Mecha Godzilla feels like a threat. Mecha Godzilla feels like he could actually defeat Godzilla and that like he's not really a cheap imitation given how much like he diverges from what, you know, typical Mecha Godzillas are. Like he feels like, yo, this he might not end humanity, but he might kill Godzilla on a one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And then have a war on humanity.
Yeah, like, and it'll be a war. Humanity will win because like he's made of human materials. It's not like we don't know how to bomb that shit in oblivion, but it's like versus Godzilla, he had the upper hand until Kong came in. He was on like the death blow until King Kong came in with like, you know, WWE level shenanigans of like, oh my god, you know, Rey Mysterio came in and helped his buddy out. Ooh, ah, like I love GVK, but it's WWE for monsters.
I don't see a problem with that. I was hoping the
I love it.
Undertaker was going to show up.
Listen, again, I'm not against that. I love that. Like, bro, you get this tragic ass backstory about how their ancient enemies, Kong gets dragged and taken to his ancient home, but Godzilla can't help but keep that. I love it. Kong gets his ass whooped. I love it. Team Kong all the way, but damn, watching that fight was something. Mecha Godzilla was like, oh, I like this. I like watching Godzilla kind of get his ass whooped. Not gonna lie.
Everyone needs
MonsterVerse
their ass
kayfabe
whooped one.
sucks.
Kayfabe sucks.
Everyone needs their ass whooped one point or another.
I will say about like GVK, it's totally unfair that like one of the biggest battles like in the century between these two monsters is like, yeah, we're gonna take this giant fucking monkey, you know, monkeys, the animal that's not known to swim very well. We're gonna put him in the middle of an ocean while like kind of coked out of his mind. Like that's
Coked
not
out monkey
fair.
fights giant lizard.
Coked out monkey fights fucking alligator. That's not a fair fight, bro. Come on.
Cocaine Monkey, the sequel to Cocaine Bear.
Now the Tokyo fight, I get what that sounds
Tokyo?
very
That would be
rounds.
pretty scary.
But like that
Well,
that
but the
ocean
chimp,
fight was
though.
just like, yeah. Oh god, that chimp,
Coked
Cocaine
out
chimp?
chimp.
bro. I know, like bro. If y'all don't know the story, there's this woman who had a pet chimp and it ripped her fucking face off, and you can still find the call online.
Wait, actually, that kind of is cocaine chimp.
Yeah.
That's the story though.
No, that's just chimp.
It was not
Chimps
that.
are horrible.
No, that's not cocaine chimp. That's just chimp. Because like again, they're apes. They're similar to us in certain aspects and not in others. One of the things that they really can't handle is like long-term connections and emotional stability. So if a chimp is angry, but you've been raising it all its life, like it still might rip your fucking face off. And that's what it did to yeah, like that's what it did to this poor woman. She raised
but
it all
was
its
also on
life.
Xanax, wasn't it?
I don't believe so. I don't remember like reading about that, but it might have been. Again, like it
I
might have
read
been
that
this.
she gave the chimp Xanax before the attack.
Yeah, that one.
The
was-
thing-
I know that specific attack that chimp was
The-
on there, but also
like,
chimps in
the-
general. Just
The original one that I'm talking about, where you can still hear the audio from, she just had like a chimp, and not just a chimp, a bonobo, like the most violent animal on the planet other than humans. Like,
no,
if you're
not chimpanzees. Bonobos are like it had to been like a regular chimp because bonobos are usually pretty chill, honestly.
no, they're not.
Bonobos?
No, bonobos are fucking horrific. You got it mixed up. Chimps are the chill ones. They might do the occasional, like, rip your fucking face off thing, but like chimps are usually chill.
I feel like I'm gonna lied to him. I looked that up. Which
a lot of people have chimps, but bonobos are fucking vicious. Bonobos are like one of the few like chimp species where they're like, yeah, they're most related to us, and they just do horrific fucking violent actions of like tribal warfare, is like, genociding other chimp species. And there's not really a reason we can determine within the animal kingdom. Like, they're bigger than these other chimps. Like, they can outcompete them in every way. There's not really a reason to fight them other than any other, like, human thing that we can draw. But, like, nah, I'm not going to compare us to fucking bonobos. Bonobos are fucking vicious. Bonobos are like Bonobos are like one of the few chimp species where it's like, if you want to have a monkey pet and you want to be one of the, don't do it with a bonobo. They might actually have a mood swing and tear your face off and like eat it. They're also like the largest, I think.
I always thought it was like chimps were the really aggressive ones, and that chimps were like bonobos were really, really small compared to bonobos.
I thought that
was the impression.
I thought that too, but like it's apparently the opposite, because like one of the things with like the illicit like pet trade market where you get people who keep tigers and shit is like, yeah, apes, monkeys, shit like that. That's a really big go-to. You can't keep bonobos in like solitary captivity like that. They need like their troop, and they recognize that we're not that. Whereas chimpanzees, smaller, somewhat less more aggressive, they can be acclimated to like recognizing humans as a part of their troop. Like, they might have like those animalistic outbursts, but like bonobos are just apparently a different story. Again, like bonobos are like one of the chimpanzee groups, like the tailless apes that will like decide like, yeah, there's another fucking ape living over here and we don't like them. Let's eat their babies. Like, that's bonobos. Chimps, more or less, you see that like when you get like, chimp on chimp violence, but like bonobos, really fucking scary. It's like the same with mandrills. Like,
mandrills are terrifying.
Yeah, like they will just eat your face. That's why you don't see many like rich entrepreneurs who like keeping monkeys as pets try and go for shit like bonobos, gorillas, like orangutans. Like, these animals are a little bit smarter than your average bear. And they recognize when they're being kept in isolation, and they tend to lash out, especially in the later stages of life after they've gone through the adolescent period. But after they've become like grown.
Even chimpanzees, I mean, talking about chimps, their strength, even though they're smaller, they can, like you said, they can rip your face right off. It's like
all strength, of them, monkeys
can out-muscle. They can. I mean, shoot, if you take the world's strongest man and do an arm wrestling competition with a chimp, that chimp will take that big old muscle man out in a heartbeat, because they're not like us where we have an ethical thought. They're like, no, I'm going to take you out because, one, you're a threat to me.
Oh,
I'm going to find some way to do it.
It's not even the ethical thought that goes into mind. It's the fact that they can. It's the fact that apes, monkeys, all that, like, they're at such a primal level, like the Jendi Tarkovsky show Primal, where, like, they can just do it. And it's not even a second thought. Monkeys and apes playing with each other equates for broken bones and years of physical therapy for us. If we were to go out in the wild and do what like a bonobo or a chimp does for fun, we would break fucking half the bones in our legs and maybe half the ones in our fucking fingers. Think about like the visual signs of like, oh, a chimp bites your fucking knuckles because he doesn't want you grooming him at that time. They have an insane fucking bite force. What would that do to a human?
Goodbye fingers.
Yeah, exactly. We can't really do that because our brain and our biochemistry tells us, oh, that's a fucking finger, not a carrot or a hot dog or a, really cooked sausage. Our brain tells us. We don't morally, like, bite your finger right now with your hardest force. You won't be able to.
Well,
Your
yeah, that's
brain's-
because that's your own appendage. If you do it to something that's not connected to your brain, it's a lot easier.
I've done
So-
it before. I'll tell you, it's really not.
Not to mention the other thing too is that with chimps and all apes, they have how their muscles work is a lot different in terms of they're
Yeah.
able to do like a lot of very fast movement and stuff, and they're really good at like these outbursts of strength. While we're able to do very dexterous stuff like draw pictures and stuff.
Yeah, like that's what I'm talking about. Like apes, they can't draw a picture, they can't compose Shakespeare, but they can twitch their hand in like a downward gesture while you're holding it with two fingers, and boom, there goes your two fingers.
I can't draw. I can't compose Shakespeare, but I can whoop your ass. That's
Quite
literally monkey logic.
Gorillas are like half the fucking size of humans, twice the fucking weight, but Jesus fuck if they can't. Yeah, they have muscles we just haven't trained in like a millennia.
That would be one thing I would love to see in more Kong content is just him punching something and it just exploding.
I don't want more of that. I want more Kong and weapons.
I'm
Punching.
impartial, like-
I'll put it like this: punching things, blowing up things. That's a Godzilla trait. Godzilla runs into something, you expect it to fall. If he walks into a building, you expect it to fall. If he hits a tail with his building, it crumbles and it shatters into a million pieces. I don't want that with Kong. He climbs the Empire State Building. He's vulnerable to planes. Like, give me some more of that intelligence that works around that shit.
It's like you never even saw him do that in like his first appearance. So like whenever I think of it, I don't think of it as being like a super like intrinsic trait to the character. I think it's interesting, but like I don't know.
No,
like,
that's fair. I just don't see it as something that needs to be a part of Kong. Like he doesn't need to have like the Godzilla level strength where he's shattering buildings. Like he's big and that's enough. In the original Kong, like even then, like he was big, but like he wasn't destroying buildings. Like he could flip over a train and like maybe climb over its tracks. He'd have to climb the Empire State Building, but the threat was that like he was big and he had a human enough connection to like maybe kind of grapple with that, maybe kind of combat that. Imagine Kong go ahead.
I think something that pulls off like I guess gorilla strength well would be from Primal, that one episode with like the monkeys fighting each other with like Krog, I think.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
imagine a Krog like fucking Kong, where like he's not shattering like his enemies or buildings with shit, but like, goddamn if you don't see the destruction, goddamn if you don't see the fucking jaw of a Vasatosaurus fucking like shift sideways, you hear the snapping and see like blood and teeth flying. Like I can agree with that. I can agree with that where it's like I want a bit more visual aspect to his strength, but nah, keep the shattering buildings and like just destroying foes with one punch to Godzilla in one punch.
No, I don't mean like big monsters. I mean like him seeing a person, him just punching a person, and that person just becoming mist.
Oh no, I took it as like I took it as like building because like any monster you do that.
No. I'm talking like him just when he's like going against something smaller than him. Just,
oh, like, I'll put it like this. You got that. You just didn't like it.
Terms of from which movie I'm thinking then?
Kong Skull Island, Samuel L. Jackson versus King Kong when he's down and out and the napalm is right about to hit. You get Kong just completely smushing that motherfucker into a pancake.
Oh yeah, but like there's nothing graphic about it though.
No, but like that's what I mean. You just want graphic content. When we got what Kong looks like versus just normal people, you just don't like it. It's not you don't get the blood spray of Gears of War when you chainsaw into an enemy and like all the blood splatters on the screen. But Jesus Christ, watching the giant fist of Kong, strike as he gives like the deep blue speech of like, we're gonna kill this motherfucking ape and we're gonna do it now. He gets smushed. It's quite literally the same effect as this, in the same movie where the skull crawler smacks the soldier into the fucking wall. We get it twice. Samuel L. Jackson's about to give his big heroic blow, and it's Samuel L. Jackson, so you think he's going to do it. And then he gets smushed by a giant fish.
Granted,
Not
he's
Fist.
got no. Well, what's it called? He got bitch made by a fish too. Because
Yeah, like Fist, Deep Blue Sea, he got snapped up in the middle of his speech. We got that in Kong. It just wasn't specifically as violent or graphic. My combat to that is like we haven't seen that in a Godzilla movie in a while, where like people are melting from their skin on the intense levels of radiation, and like Shin Godzilla, the blood is supposed to be like this big thing, but all it really does is cover the screen and then cut to a boardroom meeting. We don't see people drowning or actually dying. We don't get that graphic content from Godzilla. Even in King of the Monsters, where he goes super duper lava Godzilla, we don't see any survivors trying to run around and like still escape that shit and just melt into oblivion. No, he's just melting buildings and infrastructure, things that aren't important because there aren't lives.
And so to bring that, what you're saying, full circle to Godzilla -1, with also the image that we got along with the other teaser trailer that we got very recently, you see Godzilla stomping around, and there's people like literally in between his toes trying to get out from underneath him. And so
exactly.
So talking about that, it's like we may just get that in this film.
No, we're definitely gonna get that. So, like the trailer that was released already had the fucking iconic, Godzilla eats a train scene. The footstepping scene. The fact that he is smaller gives a bit more filmmaking leeway to showing what people look like dying at the hand of this, because that's ultimately what 1954 was about. Like when he wasn't fighting you're dying at this is death, and he's roaring and screaming and firing a laser at you. And I like that
54 is one of the few films you actually do see people like on screen end up
the
dying.
most iconic scene of 54 is just the scene with the mother hugging her children. Yo, we'll see daddy soon. We'll see your father soon. And then they fucking get obliterated, and you just cut to Godzilla just doing his normal thing. We've never got that since. They tried to with the anime trilogy when they're like, oh, we're hearing ourselves die and it's Ghidorah. But with Godzilla specifically, we never just get a movie where people are dying. Shin tries it, but they do the thing where it's like you get more of the destruction more than a death.
I just rewatched GMK last week. There's so much explicit death in that movie.
I knew you were going to mention this when you said wait, because GMK is like kind of the only example where it's quite literally he is the souls of the tortured spirits that have been forgotten by the bomb. They take such a heavy spiritualistic route, but the graphics are so over the top funny that people ignore it. Take a movie like Monster,
like a joke for a lot of people.
Yeah, like take the music, for example. When you get like the awesome music when Godzilla's stomping in the action, but then you have to remember in the real world where there isn't a soundtrack that no, this Godzilla particularly is a representation of the tortured souls who died because of like Japan's incompetence during the after effects of the nuclear bombs, during America's incompetence.
That's not what he represents in that movie.
No, I'm sorry. In that case, it's the souls of victims of Japan.
Yeah, no, the victims of Japan. When I say time out. When let me explain. When I say the incompetence, because the victims of like Hiroshima and Nagasaki wasn't just during those fucking blasts. It wasn't like the 100 or so thousand. It was the after effects. It was the children that were born with that shit. So like when I say that's kind of what I'm being.
Well, that's what you mean. But like in this case, it's not those people. It's like everyone who died because of the Imperial Japanese military.
Oh,
so like,
okay, no, yeah, that's fair. Cool. If it like, listen, if it's war crimes and shit, yeah, I was wrong. Let that be known for the record in the video. I was wrong, but like, point still stands when you have like this awesome guitar riff going on when he fights the fucking monsters, but we're still supposed to remember that this is the tortured spirits of the victims of war crimes past. Now take example Shin Godzilla. You don't get that. All of the soundtracks when Godzilla's on screen are like this tortured opera melody. It sells the theme a bit better. We haven't gotten a serious one like that since like GMK, where it's like we focus on like the death aspect and like show it on screen. But like, man, are the themes really combated because he fights like three different monsters. Mothra, Berrigan, and King Ghidorah, who's a guardian now. Kind of subtracts from that.
Were you gonna say something, Kama? Because I think you were gonna say.
Yeah, I'm going to rebuttal your point of the Shin Godzilla soundtrack. It is very, if you listen to the lyrics and persecution of the masses and who will know, like those are very tragic songs. But if you listen to any of the other bits of the soundtrack, at least parts that are original to what's his name, Ava
Akira Ufukibi?
No,
or
no,
I
no, no.
probably pronounced that wrong.
Shiro Sagisu.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It
Real
is
quick,
it is
before-
nothing but electric guitar riffs.
Before you continue your point, I do know Avid has to bounce off.
Oh
So I'm gonna
shit.
let him chill before he pieces out for us. Let me stop streaming. Advents, you have the floor. I'm gonna put your stuff in the background because I love nothing more than being a little shiller for everyone.
I appreciate that because I am going to be hopping off. I'm old. I'm
Oh damn, that looks good.
I'm not used to being up this late. And thankfully it's Labor Day weekend, so I don't have to be at work tomorrow. So thank goodness for that. But
Hooah.
I mean, no, I've actually enjoyed this. I stayed up specifically for this. I'm actually keeping my wife up, so I am trying to be as quiet as I can, but I can't.
My apologies, Lady Advents.
Yeah,
she's
so
all right.
same here, Lady Advent. I am so sorry. Like, we just kaiju. I'm sorry.
And she gets it. I mean, she was there at the G Fest with me when I was helping out Titanic Creations. Which I mean, I'm gonna put a shout out to them too. They're really cool people, and because of them, I've not been, I wouldn't have been able to try to push further with what I'm trying to do. So, and that's why I support them in everything they do, and they've been nothing but awesome to me. So, but other than that, I will hop off here. Thank you, Zilla, for putting my stuff on there. And
Of course.
yes, I am, and I will say this, and for those who do follow me, I will put this out here. I am making a comic. I'm also making an introductory comic, more like a prequel. I put a little teaser cover out not too long ago. It was actually, I put it out on, I think it was Twitter, I believe. I put it out there on Twitter. But I am currently right now in the process of getting the storyline together, getting the main characters together, at least for this. It's going to be an 8 to 10 page comic. It just started out that way. To kind of not really explain why, there it is, to explain why the kaiju became what they are, but it kind of introduces you to the world I'm trying to set. That it is set in a real world kind of setting, but it's not genuinely real because, again, it's sci-fi. Sci-fi is science and fiction, so there is some science to it, but there's a whole lot of fiction. So, um, the Mutations Genesis. That's the name of this little comic that I'm doing. And the thing is, this is all me doing this myself. I'm not commissioning anyone to like draw this for me or to write the story. It's all of this is on me. It is very much all on me to get the artwork done and to get the storyline done. Um, I mean, I'm not even going through a publicist. This is all literally 100% me. So, um, so any kind of support at all would be absolutely great because because I'm trying to put this out there myself, and I know that, you know, I know that for Tridontis and what you've been doing with him, you know, you've been doing things on your own as well, doing your own storylines and your own artwork and things like that. So, so you have an understanding of it's all on you.
Yeah.
You're not putting a whole lot of. I mean, I did see the commission that you recently did or had done, and I thought that was amazing, by the way. But but for this comic, I kept it simple. I did have someone comment saying that they didn't like the simplicity of it. I did it that way for a reason. It's the cover art. I mean, there's no real monsters. There's no real kaiju in this one. You're seeing the reptiles for what they are before they become mutations. You're seeing the people before all what happens to these creatures and makes them what they are. You're seeing it beforehand. So it's not like all grandeur of kaiju. Yeah, I'm not gonna give too much of a spoiler for this, but that's why the cover is so simplistic. There's no real kaiju. You're seeing everything before it happens.
And overall, I would say that if you can, guys, definitely support him when and how you can.
Subscribe to
Do
his
you have
Instagram.
do you
Follow
have
that
any
motherfucker.
financial support? Any places that people could do to support you financially, like links wise?
I don't have anything like that. I guess, I mean, the way that, I mean, if I can get this 3D sculpt made and actually, I mean, and I'm actually in the works of getting an actual 3D printer, like not one of those that like is a little nozzle that puts out this stuff. It's the one that dips down into the liquid resin and keeps pulling it out, and it actually prints it out that way. That's what I'm working on right now, wanting to get. But this 3D sculpt that Zim has up right now, um, that is what I'm currently working on, and it's going to be available to sell once I actually have the model done, and if I can get the 3D printer and have it done. And what Zim just pulled up is the actual cover for the legit comic that I'm doing. So that's what I'm currently working on. And I'm still, man, I'm even looking at it now. I suck at people. I've got to work on that.
Oh, dude, we all suck at drawing people. Well,
I
we
don't.
come here.
Speak for yourselves.
I speak for
Yeah.
myself, okay?
I mean, I'm hoping not as bad, but I like the ones here. I really do.
I'm trying my hardest. I mean, I have no college background. I have no college degree in art at all. I am very much the sense and term of amateur.
Yeah, no, definitely. For everyone who can, support him where you can, and let's not keep him up more than he needs to.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Advent, for being on.
Thank
Definitely.
you guys for having me on here.
Always you're welcome here on the channel, and welcome on for more of these open mics whenever I do them.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's I wanted to be a part of this. I haven't really been a part of anything like this, at all. So I wanted to give it a try, and I'm just terribly old, guys. I can't keep up with a lot of you.
The future is now, old man.
The future is now.
And I'm very much the past, so
We will see the Godzilla trailer first, not you. It's not like the days of old.
well, I'm gonna go to sleep and I'm gonna wake up with a birthday present or with a Christmas present and wake up and find that, hey, look, my phone let me know that there's a trailer here. I'm gonna watch it.
There you go. Awesome.
Yep.
But you have a
All
good
right, well,
night,
later,
my man.
guys.
Yeah, have a good one.
Peace.
Have a good one, man.
And then there were 4. Well, speaking of which, actually, let me stop sharing real quick. If if we do want to have more people come on and join, I will do so. Here's the link. More people who wants to join. Also, in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is I am gonna blip off all the videos I was gonna do video essays on because I just realized that all the talking literally was able to cover all these hours. Thank goodness. But someone did say it was like 140 in Japan, meaning that the trailer's gonna be popping up real soon. It is.
Oh shit!
I'm real excited now. But is everyone here actually going to be able to see the film in theaters, or like?
Oh, I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this film in theaters. Like me and my best friend have like. It's weird because like they've never watched a Godzilla film before me. We have this tradition of going to like Godzilla films in theater and watching them simply because it's a Godzilla film. We saw Shin Godzilla, GVK, and King of the Monsters in theater. So like this year is definitely gonna be a fucking year. Like we got like Godzilla, X Kong, New Empire. We got fucking -1. Like this is definitely gonna be someone I see in theaters. Regal,
Yeah,
sure.
no.
I'll make the fucking Uber trip if I have to.
I know there's at least going to be a few theaters in my area that have been showing the other Godzilla films, so I should be able to go to at least one that's like in walking distance. If not, I don't mind driving. The goal is, I've literally been asking all of my friends, like I know in real life, be like, "Hey, yo, so like, can you get December 1st off?" And they're like, "Why?" And I'm like, "So I'm trying to get a whole theater filled up with people to watch this Godzilla movie, so I can post that." And
Bro,
if that
that'd
does
be
happen,
epic.
yeah, no, I've asked like at this point about like 25 people. So if I get 25 people, that'd be awesome. If I get more people, that'd be even better.
Listen, I'd put it like this, like, because like I've thought about doing the same thing, and the thing I thought about offering is like, I'll get your ticket. Everything else has to come from you. But like, you want to see this movie?
Literally.
You want to take a good day? I'll pay for your ticket. You just get yourself popcorn and snacks. But like, we see this fucking movie.
Oh no, I'm the same way. I'm like, I'll buy your ticket. I will literally drive like dozens of people here, and I will Uber everyone back if need be. If you literally just sit down in this theater and watch this movie.
See, because like for me, here's the thing: I don't care about like opening day box office, as long as people pay to see this movie here. Like, cool, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You may not see it opening day, but that first week, that second week, like the few weeks it's in Regal theaters in America, hit your Regal theaters up, yeah, I'll pay for your ticket. I'll make sure you can get there. Let's go. Let's see monsters fight. Like, it may not be but it's giant monsters. Like, I really want to support like the kaiju giant the basically creature feature aspect more of media. Like, I just love that shit.
Did we all go to see the Godzilla Day showings?
Yeah,
Yes.
I was able to.
Yep.
Yeah.
I took the day off for that.
Same.
What was the turnout like for your guys's?
So what's interesting was that my dad was coming from work and he went to a different theater than mine, and I went to one in the big city, and both turnouts were actually like, they weren't in the biggest theaters in both movie theaters, but like it was still filled where it wasn't like there was like large portions of the theater that were empty. So that was at least promising.
Wait,
I will say,
what
right.
is this Godzilla Day showing? What is this Godzilla Day showing?
When they showed Godzilla gets Mechagodzilla at some of the Regal theaters.
Oh, yeah, I didn't go to those.
In my specific theater, they did a Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla followed up by Godzilla versus Kong. It was kind of like a old school double feature.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, I live in a city of 276,807 in upstate New York. If you can figure that out, you figure that out. But like, that's where I live. I will say for the showing, not counting the people that I brought, which was like 3 or 4, the theater was about halfway packed, and there were 2 theaters showing Godzilla. So like take that as like a full theater showing, packed, full size theater, like IMAX, the whole 9 yards. Like the last Godzilla movie in my area from Toho got a full theater of that. But again,
Yeah.
like it's not the most populous, but it's a significant. We're like the third most populous city in like New York State. So it's like, yeah, pretty big. And keep in mind, we're not the only Regal theater in like New York State or like this city I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't like. For me, I went into Boston for mine, and there were actually several different theaters that showed Godzilla against Mechagodzilla on that day. So people had options for where they wanted to go, and it seemed like both the one my dad went to and the one I went to were filled. So that was promising for me, at least how I saw it.
Is Regal like a chain?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Because where I am, Marcus is the main chain.
Do they run under the same basic parent company of AMC?
No.
Okay, so
Yeah,
like
that's probably why then.
there might be a different distribution agency, but like basically what me and Zim are talking about are like Shin Godzilla, the last few Godzilla movies in general to come out in the Americas. They've always been partnered with AMC, and a
Yeah.
subdivision of that is Regal Theaters, and that's in some states, but not others. So
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
Because my theater, like, it's part of the Marcus chain, which I'm guessing is probably just in the Midwest, from what I can tell.
yeah,
The movies that I've been interested in that are kind of like specialty movies, whether it's like an anime movie or like they showed Shin Ultraman at my theater, like they do have those sort of like specialty sort of novelty movies that might have a limited release in the US. So I'm not really worried about seeing this movie in theaters. I will go see it, obviously.
yeah.
But my theater in particular, although I can drive down, the nearest AMC theater is about 45 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure that will have it, but like I said, I am fairly confident just
Oh,
from
yeah.
the past movies that my main theater will have it.
I mean, like, keep in mind, like, Toho, the Japanese company from, Japan, it's like, they're not looking at fucking Legendary or, like, all the IMAX theaters. They've set their sights primarily on, like, AMC. So, like, yeah, anything lower than that pretty much has a guarantee of showing this movie. I've seen it, Shin Godzilla specifically, when it had, like, that very limited release for the first time in America. Like,
Yeah.
That was even more limited than something like Shin Ultraman, because I
Yeah.
had to drive down to like an hour away, and that was like two cities or two theaters in my entire state.
No,
Yeah,
like,
that was the same deal for me. Was that Shin Ultraman? I had to drive about 30 minutes to go to a specific theater. But the interesting thing was that same theater was where my dad went to go see Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. While I saw mine in Boston. So it seems like they've been widening the where they've been distributing the films, because because I saw Shin Ultraman at the closest theater to my house, which is like about 2 minutes drive, 5 minutes walking.
Lucky
And
bastard.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
To make you feel even worse about yourself, I have a theater that's 5 minutes walk, 2 minutes drive away from me. There's an IMAX that's about 6-7 minutes drive. That'd be like even longer drive because it's another town over. And then right next to where I work, there's an AMC theater. So there's literally 3 movie theaters which are in really close proximity to me.
I'm kind of hoping because I'm going to college, and the university has like a small theater, and normally they play movies that are 2 to 3 months out of release. Like they're going to be playing Barbie in the next few weeks and The Little Mermaid in like the week after or something like that. So I'm hoping kind of potentially, although I highly doubt it, maybe sometime in like February or something they might show the -1.
You know how I'll tell you right now. You know how you secure that? You know how you get yourself a free viewing
I want to
of
see if you'll say
Godzilla
that.
minus?
I want to see if you'll say what I'll say.
It's quite literally, you're in college. Those movies aren't like a specific curriculum. Recommend it. recommend it to whatever organization or like fucking hierarchy in that college determines what movies get shown. Yo, let's show like Godzilla -1 from Japan. Let's see what they have to like. If they're fucking liberal as shit, like yeah, apply to that. Let's see what they have to say about the representation of the bot. Like yeah, cool. You can get that movie shown. It's a recommendation basis. It's a college.
I'll tell you this. I literally got my class. I got an Asian American Studies class that just showed Godzilla at one of our theaters in our college.
Asian Americans. No, hold up. I'm just gonna say Asian Americans. I got Italian, like historical footage where we look at shit from like World War One. Yeah, we watched the original Godzilla film because like I said, yo, it's a good idea to see how like different eras tackle like the horrible effects. We're talking about Italy. Let's like try and compare it to one of them. Well, we watched 1954 Godzilla.
It was so funny because I was walking to the office hours with another professor, and like the head of the Asian Studies department was in her office, and I walked by it. There's a poster for her class with Godzilla 54 on it where she talked about it a little bit. And then on her desk is a little Bandai Ultraman Gaia figure. And I was still waiting because my professor was right next to her office and his door wasn't open and he wasn't there yet. So I literally was just sitting there. I'm like, you should definitely make them watch Godzilla. And she was like, yeah, I could, but there like isn't an easy way for like me to do that. And I was like,
are you kidding?
Hey, no more. Granted, this was before it was free for you to watch on YouTube.
Are you HBO Max Criterion?
It was before HBO Max was
yeah, like if it's before you can watch it on YouTube, it's before all the
this was before the pandemic.
This
was
yeah, like pandemic. If you wanted to watch,
it was readily available on DVD.
Yeah, no, like that, like no, that's the thing. Like if you're talking about DVD, you're talking about these professors trying to have to buy it out of there. Like they're really. I grant that. For me, it was a bit different because like. My professor in Italian fucking media studies, he put forth the challenge. Like we watched this one movie, Life is Beautiful. Beautiful comedy movie, but it quite literally deals in like the middle of the Holocaust when Italian is like when Italy is dominated by the Germans and shit, and it's like depressing ass movie overall. After we watched that movie, he's an Italian guy. He did the thing where he's like, and now I dare you to find me a movie that covers a post-war period as deep as this movie. Godzilla. God fucking Zilla. And then, like, I had to sit there and, like, yeah, Godzilla, as we know it, is just like monsters fighting monsters, like aliens bringing down monsters. And this was like back in 2017, right after like the original Godzilla in like 2016 from America. But it's like, I said, like, let's watch 1954. Because he was referencing like, oh, you mean the one where he's fighting the giant bugs, the palmetto bugs. And I'm just like, no, 1954, black and white, like, Life is Beautiful, the one you had us watch, like, you had us watch the black and white version. Let's watch that one, 1954. See how like we can analyze that shit.
Speaking of cinema studies class, and specifically Italian cinema studies class, I remember my first year of college having to sit through and watch Bicycle Thieves. I'm not sure if you guys watched that movie.
No, yes. I did the same fucking thing, dude. Like, no, like I'm not gonna lie to anyone here. Film analysis shit, like. The one thing they will give you that's worth of anything is like, yes, you can interpret this however you want to. That's it. Everything else is like, in my opinion, these motherfuckers just trying to force their interpretation onto you. My Italian's professor was like just him trying to like force this idea of like, World War II, pre-war, post-war Italy onto like his class. Cool. I get that. I get the, theme I get from the movie. Let's watch Godzilla. Let's see how another era tackles fucking post-war trauma.
If anybody listening to this is going into college and you're going for film studies or anything like that, prepared to be inundated with the professor's own
personal opinion.
And their own analysis. And prepare to get every movie they bring up spoiled because the number of movies where my professors been like, "An Apocalypse Now isn't like," and they'll just go into Apocalypse Now, and I haven't seen it, and so I like covered my ears. And then there are other movies who's like, all right, 2001, and then he just spoils the whole thing, and I haven't seen 2001, so I covered my ears. And it's like the number one thing you need to prepare for is just every movie that they bring up is going to get spoiled, whether you've seen it or not. So just be prepared for that, and also be prepared to have their own analysis shoved down your throat.
I'll tell you this too. If you're also like, if you're going into college for like, and you see like a sci-fi or a fantasy related class where you do any analysis on that, expect the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll say this, like, personally, like, I went to school for fucking history and shit. Like, one, just like, if you're a creative individual where like you're looking to gain information to create something, do not under any circumstances go to college looking for this. There's a library down the road. You can get access to college libraries with like a little bit of a subscription, the same that you pay for like Disney Plus. Don't go to college. And that leads into my second point, because it's like, it's not the fact that they'll spoil movies for you. It's the fact that, like, taking some of these classes myself, looking for the same things as like, yo, how do I do, better writing in science fiction? How do I portray my ideas better? You will get a lot of professors who quite literally only have one way. And the simple fact that they're professors and you pay for this is like, yeah, my way or the highway. Like that's just like unacceptable, especially like Zim is talking about, when you're just like looking for shit to further your storytelling expertise, the way you tell science fiction and shit, the way you tell your own ideas and narratives. You don't want one motherfucker being like, oh, well, this is the only way you can take Godzilla, and this is the only way it can be seen, because you might have a different idea than that.
Oh, I'll tell you this also. If you better start with Godzilla as talking about the one monster movie with like deep themes or cultural significance, because I will tell you this, you do not, and I will say this again, you do not want to start that conversation with King Kong, because you will get the dumbest takes.
Oh no, King Kong's a different thing because it's not a post-war fucking movie.
Oh,
it's a
depressionary movie. Which
it's not a progressionary movie. Like, it's a movie.
Depression era.
Depression.
Oh yeah, like it's a depression. Yeah, sorry,
But it's a depression era movie, so like there's a lot of interesting stuff about that, and there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about that when it comes to that stuff. But like anyone who's in film studies, like our film studies professor who talks about King Kong, you do not want to hear what they have to say, because they will give you the dumbest takes on this.
Oh no, for me, for like King Kong, like again, King Kong is just a different story, because like, again, different country in general, different history. Like, there are some allegories that can be made that as Americans we just don't like to fucking hear. Not gonna go into them here, but like, yeah, there are some shit that we can say about movies made around the same time as King Kong 1933 that's just like, it's a bit weird when we look at movies around the era that, were grossing, making as much money as around the time. Godzilla, however, it's that post-war movie. It's that aesthetic. It's just like the sheer, even though they were under occupation by like us Americans, it's like, yo, they managed to get out a message so thorough and clean and just obvious that like you couldn't even censor it. If you wanted to censor the messages and thematic themes of like nuke bomb bad, you would just have to not release Godzilla. We couldn't do that. We released it under Gigantus.
That's a different movie.
Gigantus fucking raids again. Like, we may not have released the
You're talking about King of the Birth. He's thinking King of the Monsters instead of Gigantus.
Isn't that the one where he fights like
Anguirus?
the Gigantus I'm thinking about is the one where they kind of rebranded the original Godzilla a couple years after, and they called
King of the
him
Monsters.
Gigantus.
But no, because King of the Monsters were 56 for original 54, and then Gigantus is 55.
Okay, King of the Monsters. But like, yeah, my point, like, they rebranded.
This is the problem with every film being called either Godzilla or Godzilla King of the Monsters. It's late in the night. We're all getting stuff mixed up.
Listen, I don't even brand it as this. Like, it's the problem with like yeah, we tried to rebrand a lot of that shit when it's just
Hey,
like
though,
Godzilla raids again. Like, okay, Japan had it good. We were the ones that were like, no, this is King of the Monsters, and this is like King of the Monsters 2, Part 2 of Part 2. It's like a Attack on Titan all over again. This is the final season, Part 3 of the final episode, Part 4 of like the final scene, Part 7. Like, cool.
Here's the thing. I give mad props to the Raymond Burr 56 King of the Monsters because
100%.
because
Agreed.
that is when you look at something like Gamera or any of the other monster movies at that time getting imported from Japan into the US, complete like butchered Frankensteins of movies. I have mad respect for whoever the distributor was for King of the Monsters to actually use as much footage as they did from the 54 movie to actually incorporate Raymond Burr into the story, however sloppily and however obvious and evident it was. It actually felt like they made an effort, especially when compared to something like the Gamera. That's the one I go to because it's just so bad.
But yeah, that's the one they always do. That was the one thing, was that they respected it enough that they put in the effort they did do to localize it as.
No, I'll put it like that. For me personally, Hero Tyrant Pontificate, it's quite. I respect them enough for like the distributors, the people who decided to like, yo, we want to bring this film to America at the time. That I respect them enough for like, yo, it's pretty early after like the 2 bombings. Like, this is a thematic setting. Just watching it without volume, like, it tells a story in it of itself. For me, as a like pseudo historian, bachelor's degree and all, it's like, nah, we had translations of fucking Japanese and shit. Like, y'all could have done better in telling that original story. I like the original story so much more.
Well, obviously,
because it had like exactly. So for me, like, the leniency I cut to people distributing it to an American audience who obviously has different views, it's really fucking cut between those two things, like the original story versus what we wanted to see. It's like if I asked you about your original kaiju and the original story you wanted to tell versus like the bullshit machinations I wanted to say because, like, hey, it looks kind of cool and it could sell money maybe because we did King Kong once and it did, like, there was aspects that, like, yo, we showed this movie and its footage, but like we butchered its dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the reason they censored it, though.
Oh no, I know, but like, I'm in 2023. They're like, you know, in the 1950s. I'm not gonna try and pretend I know what they were thinking.
Oh, I know exactly what they were thinking. They didn't want to implicate the U.S. as for causing Godzilla. That's exactly why they censored it.
Oh no, yeah, no. Like, if you want to say that, I didn't want to say that, but like, yeah, that's just kind of erasing the whole kind of thing. That's kind of erasing the whole kind of like. If you want to take it the way some people do as, like, you know, the original bombings of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, if you want to take it the way other people do of like the Bikini Atoll testing, it's like either way, America's kind of implicit. The way we distributed that movie was a way to make America look good. Like, I don't vibe with that, but they did a hell of a lot just in doing it itself, just by showing it. The story and visuals of Godzilla 54 itself tell a story that's just kind of undeniable in its aspect. So like, I respect the fact that they did that. The fact that they wanted to like portray America in a more decent light from creating Godzilla, which was kind of the original intent, is like, yeah, I don't vibe with that. Like, that's the story they wanted to tell after we won the war. Let them tell that story, if nothing else.
I think what's going to be interesting, too, is the fact that now in October, we'll have 54, the novelization of 54, and then 56 is all that same story.
Who else bought the novelization, by the way? Because, like, I did.
I'm getting an advanced reader's copy, and I bought a copy as well.
I'm going to get one, yeah.
I haven't gotten it yet.
Wait, Kaimo, what did you say? I didn't hear how.
Yeah, I'm going to get one.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, I have to take some pride in this because University of Minnesota was the translator or distributor or something. I don't know. They were in some way involved with this.
They were the ones publishing it, and
yeah,
one
so
of the, I think it was like
some...
the professor who published it. Or
yeah,
yo,
I gotta take some pride in my Minnesota brothers.
No, like, I'm not even gonna lie. That's all. Like,
for once.
Listen,
hey, we made the Honey Crisp apple. Okay.
No, like that's all.
When was the last time you went to a Super Bowl?
Nah, fuck that shit. Fuck the Super Bowl. We on here about a podcast about Godzilla waiting for the fucking trailer. Like, yeah, fuck yeah. Like, Minnesotan motherfuckers decided to translate this shit and distribute it. And like not like me in New York, like one of the richest states, you know. Nah, we didn't do that. That was Minnesota. Yeah. Fuck
I have
yeah.
to say, it's definitely Minnesota's like the last state I would have assumed. If I was going to assume any state would have actually done it, it would have been like University of like California. Or
Yeah, exactly. I was just about
California,
California, New York, like.
Not even New York, just California specifically
No,
because of the large Japanese population.
No, I say New York for the simple fact that like we're liberal. We're really liberal like that. Like again, like the reason I say like yeah, just suggest like watching the movie to your college is like yeah. You suggest something like we're liberal enough to take that into actual consideration.
I don't think they would consider showing a Godzilla movie because they're liberals.
They did.
Using Godzilla.
Listen. I literally described it like yeah, they did.
If it were for a curriculum, then yeah, that could potentially be in consideration. But this is just for the university theater that plays the most recent movie.
Yeah, no, Godzilla not 54, but like Godzilla -1 recent movie. Yeah, you can get that done.
Yeah, but not because it's a liberal movie.
Oh no, I'm not saying it's a liberal movie. I'm saying like colleges are more liberal than not. Like if you honestly have to butter them up, yada yada representation, yada yada Toho, yada yada Japanese, they had the bomb dropped on them, yada yada, they have the ones to tell this story. Quite literally that simple for a fucking college. A liberal, like colleges are the most liberal places in America. That's what I'm saying. It's not because Godzilla 54 is going to be a liberal movie. I already told y'all why I'm really scared that it might not be. It might try and paint the Japanese as like, you know, the Imperial Japanese, like, oh yeah, we're kind of like sad. Like, oh yeah, we have this like previous Godzilla and he's sad. Like he's trying to convince the other one. What are you
talking about? I'm talking about bringing -1 to my university theater, and you're going on Japan being sorry for
No, I'm quite literally telling you the things I said before. The things I said before were my fears about like this might be a thing like with the double Godzilla thing where they might try and like paint a more sympathetic picture of Japan post the war because it's set in 1954. Those are my opinions. That doesn't matter. If you want to show Godzilla 50 -1 because like it's a recent movie, like yeah, you can just use the yeah. They're the ones telling the story. It's their creation. Like it's an insight on how they feel about the shit. You can use like really liberal shit. My opinions are my opinions. They don't have to be yours. If you want to get this movie shown in your college,
I'm just confused about why the idea of colleges being liberal is an excuse to show -1 at my university.
I think it's less an excuse and more of a fact that they're more willing to do that because they're more
exactly. Colleges are more liberal, therefore they're more willing to lean to the liberal side, which is like, you know, showing the voices of those who have gone through suffering. When I brought up earlier that like Japan is one of the few countries to have a, you know, atomic bomb dropped on them, not once, but twice. Yeah, that's a story that they can tell, but we really can't when it comes to like, yeah, how do you feel about nuclear proliferation? As a college place of academic, you know, intellectual fortitude, blah, 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 use the means of argument that you have available to you if you want this movie shown, if you want this movie to be seen. Like, cool, you want to go the liberal route? Yeah, the Japanese are the people who had the bomb dropped on them. Toho is a studio. When they first developed Godzilla, it was a direct allegory. They have transformed that allegory over time. They're doing it again. Let's watch it. Previous Godzilla films over the last 10 years have been like Godzilla versus Monsters or like 1998 for some fucking reason, but it's like let's
no, it's only like, because Nick's in the chat. That's the only reason why I'm saying it.
I'm just like it's like 1998 for some reason. But like let's watch how the Japanese actually have to say something about them being the only ones in the world with that instance where nuclear weapons were used as an offensive measure. Not for testing, not for making your country stronger, but because you were the bad guy and you needed to be defeated. They created Godzilla out of that. I want to see the story they tell out of that. If that's the way you need to spit it to your college, in my opinion, colleges are more liberal, do it. Make Godzilla seen.
Jesus Christ.
Listen,
By
this
any
is a
means
Godzilla.
necessary.
Yeah, this is a Godzilla panel. I'm not about to bring in politics and my personal opinions. Make Godzilla scene. Use any means necessary.
By any means necessary, you say?
Yes, I
War
want
crimes?
Godzilla to be seen. Listen, if we need.
Well,
I'm joking.
wait,
Listen.
wait.
I'm joking. I'm joking for YouTube, standards and policies. That is a joke. But if we need to just pull a certain type of narrative to get Godzilla seen. Sure, I'm fine with it. If Godzilla needs to be seen as nuclear shit isn't that bad. Let's watch King of the Monsters. Let's watch Godzilla versus Kong. I'm fine with that. If it needs to be, the Japanese had a real tough time during the bombs. Let's watch -1 because it's a period piece. I'm fine with that. My goal is
honestly,
watch it.
I would probably agree and be like, yeah, no, definitely. I think proposing it to colleges as a period piece would definitely be would be worthwhile.
That's where I'm
outside of the fact that one, it's gonna be period. It's a post-war period piece. There's so many post-war classes you could take across many universities, but also since I was able to propose it for Asian studies, doing it for Asian studies, that also works, especially doing a media analysis from post-war to now. There's many ways for people who want to get more intellectual eyes on this material. There are
for me,
ways
it's not
to workshop it.
It's not about the intellectual eyes. Like you said it, when we talk about this post-war period, I like the idea that there's gonna be a different telling. We have a different telling of post-World War II than the only country a part of the bad guys. I won't say who they were, but the bad guys who we actually feel sorry for. It's not Italy. It's not Germany in any standards whatsoever. But Japan, we kind of have this moral give and take where it's should we have done that to end the war? And then they in turn have put out a lot of films. We got fucking Godzilla. We got what's the fucking animator? Studio Ghibli. We got a lot of Ghibli films where it's they tackle post-war shit. They tackle after war, how we I'm willing to see another one. However the conversation goes, get it shown in your fucking college is my thing. This film
definitely. There's a ton of Ghibli stuff that I see all the time on campuses. So.
Bro, almost everything of Ghibli is relating to that post-war period, and it's get Godzilla shown. I think it was you or Pena who said it's a series and a franchise that when we talk about it, we're talking about it in niche aspects. I want Godzilla and all that shit to be known by as many people as possible. Mm-hmm. Because in part it's because of a historic thing. There's the meme that goes around in the Godzilla community that without America there wouldn't be a Godzilla. I want to see what they think about that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And speaking of -1, we are less than 30 minutes away.
Oh shit, boy! Here we go.
One thing. Oh yeah, go.
I have a bone to pick with Toho when it comes to Godzilla and recent stuff. It has nothing to do with storylines because, believe it or not, I have at the very least, been lukewarm all the way up to absolutely love all of the recent Toho stuff. Anime trilogy, I thought it was fine. Singular Point, I like it more than most. Shin Godzilla, one of my favorite movies of all time, legit. The only problem I have is that they do not either have the courage or want to give Godzilla a new roar. One reason I love the legendary design, specifically 2014, but even 2019 and 21, is that the roar I think is fantastic. And then Shin Godzilla comes along, and you hear the Showa roar, which is
Yeah.
fine. The only problem is that design is so far removed from the Showa design that it makes it a little. And same thing with the explosions, like the classic Showa explosions. Like they need to make a new roar. The Millennium Roar for the Millennium / 84 for the trilogy for both the animes, the trilogy and Singular Point. I don't really like mixing of multiple roars. That sounds like a fan edit. So Singular Point, I don't like it when they do that. The Millennium Roar is my favorite roar, but I wish Godzilla Earth had his own. The only thing that is making me worried that we're going to just get recycled roars for -1 is the trailer using the 54 roar. I just really wish Toho would either get some peach on their fuzz or actually take the initiative to make a new roar. It doesn't have to be completely, totally new like Legendaries, because if you really think about it, the Millennium and the Heisei roar are just altered versions of the original. But they need to make something new soon. Otherwise, I won't lose interest because I'll watch that anyway. But they need to make something new because it's just getting so repetitive hearing the Showa roar over and over and over again. And I really want them to make something new.
I'll say this. I disagree with you in one aspect. The losing interest part, it's not that I will lose interest in Godzilla. It's that like I'll lose interest in one of the aspects of him, which is like
I'm not going to lose interest. I'm just going.
Oh no, I'm not saying for you. I'm just saying for me. It's like for me, part of it is that like, yeah, I agree with you full-heartedly. The fact that we've kept getting the Showa roar over and over and over and over and over and over and over again from Toho is kind of sad when we have like an idea of what a modern Godzilla, if you want to be that like, you know, normie with it. We know what it sounds like. It's MonsterVerse. Someone tells you Godzilla, like they're probably watching MonsterVerse and like that epic fucking roar when he does in the airport scene. Yeah, that's it. But like we got the Showa one for Toho. I need them to come up with something new because, like you said, the designs are so far removed. I don't even think it's in the designs themselves. I just think it's within like the CG and the technology. Those sounds are vintage. They are vintage. They are sounds made by, you know, people moving instruments together with like water cups and shit like that. But now you get like modern MonsterVerse Goji, and it's like, no, we've blended several different animal sounds together to make this unique roar, but that's like an homage to the original. It's like, yeah, it's an homage, but like it's an American Godzilla roar. We're still waiting for that original Toho Godzilla roar that will set the standard. Because we all know once they release a new original roar, that's it. That's the one we're all using for our clips and our little art. It's like it's gonna be the Toho one.
What would that be like or sound like to you? Like, what do you think they should do?
I think they should lean a little bit more towards like the MonsterVerse, where it's like this bombastic, almost instrumental thing that dominates everything in like the theater. Like the roar in Godzilla 2014, it dominates the music, it dominates the sound effects from like explosions. When you hear that, that's the only thing. They need to kind of mimic something like that, at least for that first reveal, where it's like, this is it. And then if they want to play with different iterations and like different grunts and things like that, like, yeah, they could do that. One of the things I think MonsterVerse did right is like the different grunts and sound as Godzilla's going into battle. It's not like the typical screech that Godzilla does when he gets hit by Ghidorah in like Heisei-verse or like fucking Showa. It's, you know, it's a little bit different. Like you hear MonsterVerse Godzilla take those hits. When he gets punched by fucking Mecha Godzilla, when he gets like fucking dropped in the atmosphere by Ghidorah, you hear him making sounds that reflect that. But like in Toho shit, it's kind of like the normal stock footage Godzilla where like at first when he made that sound against like Hedorah and Anguirus, it was fine, it was cool, it was fun, but we've heard that 100 times now. We need kind of something new. We know it's iconic, we know it's your thing. Throw it in there once in a while, but come up with something new. It's almost 100 years after.
I think definitely I want to see something bassy. Like,
Yeah, I was going to
at
say
this
bass.
point, we've gotten very variations on like that Showa roar. I want something that's more in the vein of like 84, where it has
That
a
deep
lot of oomph to
guttural
it.
sound.
Yeah, something similar to that. That's what I'm hoping for.
For me, like, to answer your question even more, that's what I see Godzilla as. He doesn't roar. He growls and he grunts, but the effect of that is so loud and so bombastic that it comes across as a roar. Like, if you hit him with a bomb, like, and he grunts and he like lunges to a human, in the human perspective of what -1 is trying to go for from the trailers. Yeah, that's going to sound like a roar. That's
One
what
thing
I
I
would
would
prefer.
love would be like, it's never been really done before. It'd be super cool to see a moment where you have Godzilla open his mouth, you don't hear anything for a second, and then you see like glass shatter, and then the push of that roar, and just like the effects from that.
Can I
That
add
I would
something
love to see
onto that? Can I add something onto that?
Add on to it.
It's what you said earlier, that fucking gory ass effect. One of the things with like Godzilla that I'd love to see, I've incorporated it into Trodontis almost every one of my kaiju. When they make a sound, your eardrums will shatter.
Yeah,
They are
I want to
100.
see ear shattering.
I want to see ears shatter. I want to see people crumple in fucking just like pain because like Godzilla emitted a sound. The one thing, one of the many things I like about the -1 trailer is that when he takes that step, that single small step for a Godzilla, it sends up like fucking
Debris everywhere. People are flying. Yeah.
Exactly. I love that. The train eating sequence. I want a view of the inside of that train. You remember the movie? What was it? Jordan Peele, Aliens. Nope.
Nope.
Exactly. I want that view of like, yeah, no, you're in a train, and all of a sudden you're in Godzilla's like mouth.
We got it in '98.
We got it in '98, but it's 90 fucking 8, bro. Like, I love the truck eating sequence in '98. I love that opening scene when he first comes to shore and all you see are his fucking legs. Gorgeous, beautiful. More of it. I want more.
Don't forget the taxi scene.
Oh, the taxi scene is gorgeous.
Oh, the taxi scene's been forever ruined for me. The logistics of it. Ugh.
Wait, when he puts the taxi in his mouth?
Yeah.
Oh.
Why? What do you mean the logistics of it?
Because since it's at the end of the movie and the characters need to survive the end of the movie, we discard logic so that they can survive that.
What do you? No. I mean, like, what do you mean by discarding logic?
So Godzilla should have easily been able to crush that taxi.
Yeah, but like I also understand that like with iguanas, one of the things they primarily try and do, which is like most reptiles, is they don't chew, they swallow.
Well, here's the thing too, is I remember he did chomp a helicopter.
That is
completely.
True.
That's
he
the
did
thing,
chomp. He did chomp in helicopter, but earlier in the movie '98, the first scene we see him in, he's struggling to crush a fucking 14-wheeler.
He's struggling to crush a 14-wheeler, but then he's able to crunch a helicopter, which I did the math for, like just on pure weight alone, like is triple the weight of the model of taxi they use. And the other issue too is that like you could make that scene, you could make that chase work, but because we needed that movie to end, they didn't really think about like people realizing, oh wait, how is he not crushing a taxi when he was able to crush a helicopter that's even
again like you one of the things I will say, like I know you like a little bit of debate, it's like nah, you're focusing on the helicopter when you're not realizing that a hungry Godzilla looking for like food, focusing on the smell of fish, focusing on the fish market where there are tractor trailers, struggle to crush. And you're right, helicopters are more weight than an aluminum 14-wheeler. He struggled to crush a 14-wheeler.
Are we really saying that though?
Yeah,
Like,
no, the
are we
guy,
really
the
saying he
no.
struggled? Like struggled at what?
Listen. I'm saying struggled because it's 98, but like to be fair, like he didn't outright crush the fucking trailer. I'll put it like that because like I won't say he struggled. He didn't outright.
I take it as he just bites it and then shakes it like a dog is shaking a toy, and he's not trying to crush it like pulverize it with his jaw. He's just like it's a plaything.
That's kind of what I interpret it from as well, because he's like shaking it in his mouth and then just sort of drops it rather than like specifically like crunching it. Yeah.
Oh, the thing I'd rebuttal of that is like simply put, like when dogs have food, and if we're equating it to a dog with a plaything, there's the shaking it around like a plaything where you shake it vigorously, almost to kill a prey, which is what it's mimicking. And then what Godzilla 98 did, which is almost like, okay, like food is inside this thing, I need to shake it out, but I can't, so I drop it because, oh, wait, it's fucking metal. Versus the helicopter, which you're talking about, where he's actively under attack and he's trying to defend himself, so he's acting with aggression. He didn't act towards aggression towards the fucking tractor trailer.
No, but I'm not talking about the tractor trailer. I'm talking about the taxi.
No, I'm talking about I'm saying with the taxi, it's because of like Roland Emmerich trying to mimic the realism of most reptiles where they don't chew, they swallow. So yes, if Godzilla's trying to, in 98, trying to eat a taxi which can fit in his mouth, he is going to try and swallow it. He's not going to chew it and crush it like he would.
I would say sure, but you do see him actually like chomping on the thing too, because he pulls it out from the bridge, chomps it twice, and then he, as they're trying to push it back, you see them pushing further down instead of just trying to swallow the thing, which I would say, give it outside of the fact that we see scenes outside of that, I would say sure, but because there is context for that where 90 is trying to chew on it, I would say otherwise.
I'll end this. I'll end this here and then I'll let you go. It's quite simply like, I'm not gonna rely on a movie producer to be the most update to knowledge. I would expect him to try and mimic things he sees and like the most climactic scenes, the most important scenes. Godzilla swallowing the taxi, and then the decision of Papadopoulos to fucking use the electric wiring to hit like the most important nerve of any animal, which is like the tooth nerve, which like goes into the entire brain. That's logical. Realizing that wait. Time out, let me finish. It's the fact that like using the fact that reptiles don't really chew. They do this thing. We see it with alligators, which I think, even though he said iguana, alligator is more what he was going for, which is like the fact that when he eats, he doesn't really chew, but he opens his mouth and he pushes it backwards with his tongue, which is what we saw with the taxi. Every time he opened his mouth, he pushed it backward with his tongue until Papadopoulos saw that wire and was like, oh, yeah, I could shoot him in a tooth jaw.
And well, you know what's funny about that scene right there is the fact that you see that electrical cable dangling from above his head.
Yeah, I'm not gonna defend 98 in any way, but like go ahead. Like I'm not gonna defend 98 in any way, but like that one bit, like, okay, you're trying to be realistic. But I'm sorry, go ahead. We've been cutting you off for a minute.
Okay, so not to turn this into a 98 debate, but I would say my only rebuttal for the taxi scene is that he also has a slab of concrete in his mouth, which is keeping him from shutting his mouth.
Thank you so much. He has a slab of concrete because it's not just a taxi, it's a part of the road. He doesn't just grab the taxi like some T-Rex from Jurassic Park where he grabs a raptor. No, he bites down and takes out a huge chunk of the road. So even then, it's not chewing, it's him trying to swallow this massive fucking load. I'll take it and use it to my fucking advantage. Thank you, sir. They're using the realism of Komodo dragons, alligators, iguanas, chameleons, of not chewing, but kind of forcing it back through the motion of their jaws and their tongue. But they do it fucking wrong because it's 98. They just do it horribly because everything they do, which might be interesting in the Godzilla, is just done to the horriblest extent in 98. Godzilla laying eggs because it's a reptile. Some reptiles are known to do, agender fucking reproduction. Horrible in 98. You blow it up almost immediately after their, fucking reboots of the Jurassic Park Raptors. Godzilla being the sleek, more modern, you do it horribly because, like, honestly, like, why don't they just carpet bomb the thing like they did in Cloverfield? Like, honestly.
Or the other thing too, when he's eating, they don't just move the armor up to get a closer shot.
No, even better. When he's eating, they don't just fire. The thing that sets Godzilla off is this over-the-top general character just being like, fire, fire! Jesus Christ, fire! I pissed my pants, fire! Why?
No, it's not even a general who says that. It's literally some sergeant. Yeah, it's a sergeant.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, it's some fucking sergeant, not a general.
A sergeant with the job of a lieutenant.
Exactly.
They know for a fact that's a giant monster in the city, and you have most of your infantry still using M4 rifles instead of, you know what? How about we switch you all out?
I don't want to even listen.
M42s.
Listen, no, I don't want to even go for that because, like, cool. I can buy American government underestimates foe. I can buy that. We waged a 20-year war against some like Taliban motherfuckers in the desert, and then we lost that. Hold on, wait, time out. Listen, time out. I can buy that, and like Roland Emmerich trying to be some thematic motherfucker like the original Toho shits. Like, I can buy, like, okay, he's telling them a story where America's really ineffectual. You have the one thing alert this Godzilla is just like you said, some sergeant ass lieutenant motherfucker just panicking. Fire, fire! He's eating! Oh my god, I shit myself! Go fuck yourself. Where's like the silent commands? Where's the calm and commanded army like Delta, Tango Foxtrot? Tango is in the area. Tango is in the area. Bro,
I don't really
like,
know what you mean by that, though. Like,
I mean, military fucking like training. Go ahead.
Are you saying that O'Neill screaming fire at will is what set it off?
Yeah, the way I watched that movie, I'm watching the scene right now. He is the first one to actually react to the fact that Godzilla is eating from the pile of fish and that Totopoulos' plan is working, and that alerts God fucking Zilla.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure O'Neill screams fire at will. They start firing, and then
Godzilla reacts.
Well, here's the thing: they also start firing, but like it's tanks and handheld weapons. They only start using like actual rockets, which would have enough capacity to kill him anyway. Until after Godzilla's already alerted.
In 2014, they used machine guns to shoot at Godzilla.
Listen, 20.
Listen, I never defended 2014.
I'm not going to say it's just as bad for the simple fact that 2014 is a different monster than 1998. 1998 got bombed, got destroyed by a couple of fucking missiles because he was tankle-dipping a bridge. 2014 tanked just about everything. It took the quite literal Toho origin oxygen destroyer to put him in a coma in his home where they had to be like, yeah, let's feed you some more nukes. 1998 is not that. 1998, cool. They're playing up the panic of like a creature is rampaging. They don't use their strongest shit. Like Zim said, they use outdated weapons. The point I'm going for, you have some lieutenant-ass motherfucker who instead of calm and collected under the situation at hand like we know military officials to be, fire, fire, fire! I'ma yell it, let me yell it. And then they start using like tanks and bazookas. Get real.
Imagine like when we see like the first thing we see Godzilla get hit by in 2014 is a bomb, like a literal nuke.
2008, and they use helicopters and not some type of precision fucking jet. Get real. At least in 2014, we see them using jets and Godzilla swatting them out the air like flies. He's a brick shit house. 1998, he's built like a glass feather and then he gets taken out like one. Oh,
the
he
other
gets
thing,
he gets
too-
so particularized on vengeance that he gets tangled up in a bridge and then taken out in the neck by missiles. Yeah, okay. Raydousaurus maybe, Godzilla no.
Well, also think about it this way too: is that specifically in the water scene, the torpedoes for some reason change their trajectory so that they fly up and hit another submarine instead of directly following the target.
Oh no, that's what I mean when I say like I can't expect him to like take natural shit into account when he doesn't even take man-made shit into account. Like the torpedoes miss Godzilla underwater for the sole fact that they need them to miss. You have a
And then they
giant
don't, as well as when they do hit, they don't kill them, even though they would still have around the same.
It's not even. It's
That's
not
the
even
other thing,
around.
too.
No. It's not even around the same destructive output. It's just like thinking about American government and overblow ways we go. Cool. A giant monster is ravaging New York City, and it disappears into the depths. We're not sending regular we're not sending regular submarines. Nah, we sending the best of the best. A nuclear submarine. We, America, will try and nuke the some bitch. It's attacking New York City. Not any fucking city like Godzilla 2014, San Francisco. Who gives a fuck? New York,
San Francisco
New
is
York.
a major metropolitan area. What are you talking about?
Well, compared
Not to
New
the
York.
yeah, compared to New York. That's what I'm saying. Compared to New York, to New York. The city's so nice they had to name it twice. The city's so populous that it makes up more than 50% of New York State in general. The city that turns this state liberal and blue, yeah. Godzilla attacking
Also,
New York
like-
City, they're dispatching more than normal subs.
Well,
It's
also
like
think about it, too.
2014
Like,
nukes.
if you're thinking about like something like in the context of like monsters attacking the United States, when we think about like places that are getting attacked in like California, you got LA, you got San Diego. On the East Coast, maybe you got Miami, but like when
You
we
got
think of
New
major
York.
cities, it's New York. Like
The
even
one thing
though
I
we
will-
did Boston, no one really cares about Boston. It's New York City.
No. One thing I will say is like Cloverfield got it right. The end of that movie, they ended with what we presume is a nuclear strike because that's how we would react. Holy shit, we can't stop this thing. Everything is failing. Our helicopters are failing. Our traps are failing. Nuke. It's a giant biological monster. We can't reason with it. It's not a Russian. We can't negotiate with it. We can't like blackmail it through the media and tell it it's bad. Like it's
Jesus
God
Christ.
fucking Zilla. I'm thinking about America's play at this. Like, you gotta be real. Shoot first, ask questions later. Even when it's justified, shoot first, ask questions later. One dude took out 2 towers. We invaded 2 wrong countries and then killed the motherfucker in a cave with his NES and his supercomputer. We'll get it right eventually, but Jesus Christ, overkill is our first option. Pearl Harbor, you kill our boats, we'll drop the sun on you twice. Tell me that in a Godzilla film, I'm not to expect extreme overreaction.
Here's another fun, little fun bit of information, and this is purely because they probably were just thinking of a high number. The original World Trade Center bombings that they talk about in '98, not 9/11.
Oh, dude, I turned to you in the theater and I was like, oh.
Well, no. What's funny about that is that the damage that was caused by that, the estimated cost and damages was more expensive than what Godzilla did in terms of how much they say Godzilla caused in damages in that aspect.
No, but like that's what I'm saying. Like
no, but it's funny because it's like, oh wait, Godzilla only caused that much in property damage, not this much.
No, but like that like listen, that's what I'm saying. Like the original bombings in like 1988 when they flew a fucking like prop plane into the World Trade Centers caused more damage than like 1990 than 1998 Godzilla. And then like we don't respond with overwhelming force. We don't, what? This is an animal. No one's gonna be mad if we murk an entire fucking animal that just destroys shit, lays eggs through like self-destined protogenesis, and then like supplants us. That unironically, that would be a better MonsterVerse film than like legendary Godzilla, where he's just a protector of humanity. A Godzilla that's an active threat, but then sometimes protects humanity because, like, yo, you're where I lay my eggs.
I hate to dip right before the trailer drops because it's literally dropping in less than 60 seconds, but I do have to
No,
go. So it was nice talking with you guys. It was fun.
I'm literally switching over to the thing right now.
I know.
no,
I know.
like, listen. Don't do it. Like, stay for the trailer. It'll be worth it.
I'm gonna be watching the trailer with some other people.
How could you, Kaimo? Bro, Carl.
I thought we were your friends.
No. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm gonna watch it with some other people. But it was fun being on the stream for, what was it, 2 hours over?
Literally
So-
2 hours, yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys on
Oh, it's
later
literally
date then.
60 seconds. Oh my goodness.
Oh my lord, you're
Oh
literally gonna miss like the content cream of the crop where you get to be the first to input your thoughts on this on like
There's
video.
so many people.
Here. I'll tell you. I'll watch the movie. That's my
I'm not gonna
reaction.
say. Listen, I'm not gonna say that. You haven't seen the trailer. God bless you. I'm just fucking with you. Have a good night, man.
All right,
Like,
see you
it's
guys.
late at night.
Peace.
See ya.
Peace.
The trailer will begin shortly. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I just want to say, like, despite my fears and like my angsting, I'm excited for this. Like, new
Oh,
Godzilla
so
movie by Toe fucking Ho. Like, let's go. I'm always there for it. Shin Godzilla, the anime trilogy, fucking Singular Point. I'm always there for it. I want to see what they have to do. Oh, it's gonna be starting shortly.
It's literally just me refreshing.
No, continue. Cause like I don't. This is gonna be good.
Last minute hopes for what we're gonna see.
I'm just
In this trailer specifically, I hope to see more like personal Godzilla destruction. Let me shut the fuck up.
they're really doing this to us.
No.
4 minutes. Wow.
The 4 minute. Okay, so we have time to discuss our personal views. What do y'all want to see from this trailer? I want to see more on personal Godzilla destruction. I'm with Zim.
Yeah.
More gore, more destruction, more personal shit.
Yeah, I want there to be wonderful stakes in this film. I want to see the destruction. I want to see the terror in people's eyes so that we can really empathize with these people. Like play the era straight. Really play Godzilla straight. I don't need no wacky stuff from Godzilla. I don't need no tail beams. I don't need no back beams. I want him to emit radiation and his atomic breath. That is it.
Yes. That's what I want. If anything, I want the original scene. I want that original scene, bro. Mommy and fucking babies. Yo, we'll see daddy soon. We'll see daddy soon. He died in the war. We'll see him soon. We're dead. We don't see what Godzilla does, but we know that building fucking collapses. I want that, bro. I want that feeling again. I want the feeling of sorrow.
Yeah, I want a somber film. Like there has outside of probably like 84, there hasn't been a somber Godzilla film in so long. Like even Shin was pretty positive. I want a somber movie. I want this movie to honestly I want the movie to end on a dour note. I want us to be a somber reflection and enjoy myself. I want to be sad and enjoy myself.
The only thing I'll say about Shin is that like it fucked up because they focused on a politician. If this does like I've looked up this fucking director. If this does what he does, where it focuses on people and not soldiers and shit, I'll be happy, bro. Give me a film about civilians dealing with Godzilla, not the fucking politics, not the soldiers, not the people who had decisions in this. I want to see how the normal everyday working man has to deal with the fact that now there's a Godzilla.
I'm hoping to see scenes that sell the Godzilla design more to me because I just remember at first I was really hesitant when I saw the teaser poster with the Godzilla design, and then it's warming up to me more because I really don't like the ride design, but I do like the changes they made for this film. So I'm hoping it sells the design more for me.
Like I'm sorry, when it comes to minus, this is literally like I could stick this Godzilla in almost any environment and I feel like it fit. Like
yeah, that's how I feel about it. Yeah, no.
No,
unironically, yeah,
could
like
see- I
even
could
in
see-
'98.
give this Godzilla the CGI makeover of '98, that same design. I could see it walking through New York. I could see it anywhere.
I'll put it like this: not even with the CGI, like if you just plop this Godzilla in place of '98, I could see him going about the same way, laying the fucking eggs, getting murked on the bridge, being at his size in like 1998.
No, even
Yeah,
better. Like
I
if
could
we
see
take
that.
Godzilla, if we could take minus with 54's like power set, even I could see that.
No,
scene
no, no.
Going over the bridge, and then going over the bridge, just trudging through the bridge. And just
Oh, no. I'm comparing. Like, listen,
falling out.
no, I'm comparing it to the worst one. 54 is like GOAT. We can't beat 54. 98, worst of the worst. Yeah, I could see Godzilla -1 being in this exact same role, no changes to what Roland Emmerich designed, but we just use this Godzilla design, or like maybe the Stan Winston. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. It's a good way to take Godzilla, but one of the biggest things with 98 was that he was fucking. Hold up, he was fucking Redosaurus and not Godzilla. Had they named that movie The Beast from 200,000 Fathoms, excellent movie. The fact that it was named Godzilla. It was named Godzilla. It was named Godzilla. That's why 98 fails. Give it the name Beast from 200,000 Fathoms. Rename the creature entirely. Have it introduced to Monsterverse. You got yourself a kaiju right there. A respectable kaiju.
Oh boy.
Here we go. I'll say right this in the I'll say right this in 20 seconds. Keep in mind, Redosaurus got murked in like pre-World War II technology.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like, look at. I wonder what's falling on him. I wonder if it's like either like a vehicle that Godzilla's got in its mouth, and that's like with the oil and stuff that's falling on him, or if that's like ashen rain and stuff from like radiation poisoning or something.
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the
curious.
Listen, I'm worried about the caption. Because like my thing personally, the thematics. When he's talking about someone's gotta do it. What is it?
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about the shit raining down on him and like, oh yeah. What scene is he in? Is this a Godzilla scene? Is this like the original bomb? What's he talking about? But when he says it, what do people have? Is it the oxygen destroyer? Is it the thing that might actually end the story and defeat Godzilla like a recreation of 1954? What is it? Is it him talking about Americans nuking Godzilla and saving the day, but like it fails miserably? What is it? Exactly.
It is the second it in the Godzilla series. We want to know what it.
Someone's got to do it. What is it?
And again,
I would love it. I would love it if this scene takes place after that. Someone's got to do it, and we see them trying to do it, but Godzilla just destroys the. Yeah, exactly. Just fail. Just
like
fail. Again, Godzilla versus Kong did it great. I think the way they're doing this, it's gonna be a soldier shipwrecked off the ship, watching his ship get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that face he makes when he like everyone's dead. Like just a little bit.
Like boom.
Yeah. Again, I see like that monster not forgiving us, like Imperial Japanese soldier, naval soldier, like they did horrendous war crimes. They know what they did. We don't need to say what they did. We don't need to mention the rape of Nanking. We know what we did. The monster will never forgive us.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if he represents America, they'll never forgive us.
4K IMAX.
Oh, I'm gonna enjoy this shit.
Oh my goodness. But uh we have now we did 3 hours and 34 minutes. End off the stream here for the night. I'm gonna say a few words, a few people before I head off to bed. And tomorrow I'm gonna do some writing on a script for a video. I thank both you, Vic, and you, Tyrant, for being on for this and sitting through this to watch it. And I thank you for all the viewers who stayed long enough and those who joined earlier. We're in for something awesome. That's all I have to say. Tyrant will let you shill, and then Vic, you shill, and then I will shill some more, and we will shill our way to the end.
Yeah, no, Pontifex Monstrum or the Pyro Tyrant on Instagram. I'm the creator of Tridantis and the Paracosms and the universe, yada yada yada. If you want more information, tag into my Instagram, follow that shit, because that's where I post most of the art and most of the updates. Like, I enjoyed being here. Like, I'm glad I was able to fucking catch it, because that trailer was fucking beautiful. You guys dissuaded me from some of my, like, negative criticisms. I've went from a 5 to excitement to an 11. Like, I'm excited for this movie like I've not been excited for any other Godzilla movie. Like, I want to see what they do with this. We get the destruction, we get some of like the commentary that I wanted. Like, I want to see how they do this. I want to see how this guy does this. Like,
yeah,
and I'm hopeful.
I'm on hopium right now. Like, with a lot of the other what's it called? A lot of the other Godzilla stuff, even Shin, I was like excited, and I was like, oh, this is cool, and it's Godzilla, so I'm excited. This has me excited.
I'll say Reiwa era from Toho up until this point, unironically, has been a bit of a disappointment. They've been trying to reboot Godzilla for a new stint of series like Showa or Heisei or Millennium for a while. Singular Point, anime like Shin, they haven't been able to do it. I really want -1 to be the one. I really want it to be that one.
I think that literally this film has the gravitas and the design to carry Godzilla into the future. And we lost Pyrotech. But Vic will let you shill, and I will do my final shill, and we'll end it off.
All right. Well, it was awesome watching the trailer with you guys, talking about it. It was also pretty cool. We did a little G98 debate beforehand, but you can find me generally on Instagram and Twitter as Chuck Crispy Vic. I have commissions open, currently working on some commissions, and then I just post general art on there, opinions and takes. And then if you're a fan of 98, or even if you don't like 98 but want to know more about it, you can find me on Twitter of G98 Appreciator, where I do interviews with crew and casts. I did a recent interview with Kurt Carley, the Godzilla suit actor for the film. And you can find just more 98 art and takes. And I also have a TeePublic store under like Vic's Monstrosities, where I have some designs if you like my art and want to rep it with some merch. And that's about all there is for me.
And he lived. He literally misclicked.
Yeah, like I literally just like hit the wrong fucking button and like I exited the fucking like server.
It's still
Like,
funny because you
sorry.
literally had the perfect. It was like a perfect mic drop, and it was an accidental mic drop.
Yeah, I will say like 98 Defender. I love 98. 98 is like the born in 99. It's one of the first Godzilla movies I saw. I love it. I love that fucking movie. I think it's one of the best movies. And Zim, I'm willing to debate you on this.
I will after. Actually, no. I'll say this. Only because I did it for so much content-wise, I do want to finish the comprehensive critique on it, and then I will literally run the boss gauntlet. And I will run through everyone.
I'm willing to do that because for me, 98 isn't about the design; it's about the idea.
Oh no, that I will gladly debate the ideas because I think the design discussion meta has like ended a long time ago in my opinion.
The only thing I'll say about this, and like we can end it here and schedule for another, is like I think 98 actually depicts a realistic scenario where America has to deal with like the repercussions of its own actions. Like I brought up like a second Godzilla earlier. America bombings, we nuked our own country 1,000 times, like Zim said. It's like there's an American Godzilla. It's not gonna be the Japanese OG brick shit house. It's gonna be a flimsy piece of shit that maybe can be doing a bit more damage. But like, I think 98's a good one. But like, different discussion, different day. I'm sorry.
That is a whole other discussion, definitely. But I already showed
I
myself
I
earlier.
love these podcasts, bro. I'm not even gonna lie.
Trust me, I love doing these because I think people really get in the weeds on this stuff more than they do in other places in a safe environment, and that's why I love them. But definitely, I want to schedule more of these in the future. And for everyone else watching, thank you all. I'm Zimzilla, and I will see you all next time. And the countdown to -1 begins, guys. Have a good one.